therapy. Let me vent. Yeah, I got some problems with pain, I don't know how to take it. Niggas scream they the realest, turned out to be the fakest. My heart deceiving my mind, I'm caught up in the matrix. Great things come with time, but I ain't got no patience. Problems been on my mind, can't run, I gotta face it. Family don't spend no time, can't tell it we related. Watch my dog see the shines, he heard they see the hatred. Show that I was the one, they tried to treat me basic. This shit ain't come overnight, was grinding since the basement. Gotta shake, gotta move, no I can't be complacent. Niggas ain't this the rock, I had to come and take it. Lost my dogs on the way, somehow I'm feeling vacant. If I be feeling too off, it's love but I don't say shit. Gotta be careful with love, that shit ain't nothing to play with. Thought you was my big brother, just tried to come up on me. I've been feeling like Jesus the way these niggas cross me. Leveled up, seen they faces, I guess they feeling salty. Niggas leeching like fleas, I had to shake them on me. Broke bread with you, what made you think to betray me? Would've gave my last you needed, but niggas too shady. Wonder why my attitude, man, fuck you, just pay me. I was ballin', left the court and went straight to the pavement. Fast forward 12, book me, I'm shackled in cages. On parole, detainer on me, I'm fighting these cases. Heard my mom apologize, but the pain I can't take it. Reverse the frowns and the smiles, I tried to replace it. Sacrifice, I put the work and put smiles on your faces. This for the times we felt the pain, they tried to break us. My ex bitch, she in our feelings cause she caught the vapors. Niggas quick to take advantage, running out of favors. Left me when they left me damaged, focused on my paper. Never tried to shit on niggas, I tried to motivate you. Always helped, I never hated, that ain't in my nature. I'ma keep that shit 100, gotta keep it played. That's P. It's prime, nigga. Yeah.
Drippy for gunner. Ask my niggas in the hood, 100 round clips on this drama. Robbed the nigga, he was pussy, I ain't worried about the karma. These niggas keep saying I leveled up, but I've been a boss. My bitch Keep saying that I ain't shit, but I been a dog. Felt that homie was cold pussy, but he been a fraud. Fuck that bridge, I burn it down, then I swim across. All these Jews on me like a nigga left the synagogue. Shooters in the cut, you move wrong, I'm a synagogue. Name that new chopper, Kevin the Costin, that's my bodyguard. 20 grand, got it in the tuck, I could buy the charge. Lou let me wear his clothes, Peen let me fuck his hoes. Rail let me stay at his crib when my sister found them O's. Auntie playing with her nose, brother playing with the stove, blood playing with the load. Pop a pill, make me doze. Oh, nigga, that leather so soft, I got a cold hard. I kept a snub nose inside my cold hard. These niggas so fraud, stand tall, never fall. Nigga, that part, still reminiscing about Smooth, still reminiscing about Q, still reminiscing about all. Black cloud on my heart, I really got it out the trenches. How I came up was hard. I ain't know how to cook the dope, so I just brought the shit hard. I got love for some niggas that still stuck in the yard, walking that tear, fucking they hand, holding back tears. You know Bizzle took that 30, he can't get back them years. Fear got jeans on, but not a nigga I fear. See some real niggas starve, see some lames get rich, see some niggas take the stand cause they ain't stand for shit. If you my mans, I won't change for shit. Balenciaga runners on, I never ran from shit. And it's like that, nigga, four up, four down every fucking time. You know what I mean? From LA to the other block, nigga. 2 sign up, 2 sign down, nigga.
Special rest in peace to the wisest man I ever knew, my good brother Quan Lewis. I know you watching over me, King. You'll never be forgotten and you'll always be missed. Peace in paradise. Quan Lewis.
What's up with your family? It's your boy, the one and only Brendan, baby. Remiel Ma'at, you are now tuned in to Ma'at TV. Now, as you come into the building, family, I need you to hit that like button. Hit it hard. But most importantly, share this video. Definitely want to share this one because it's definitely about the message. All about the message on this one. If you're new to the channel and it's your first time stopping by rocking with your boy, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. But do yourself a favor, hit that notification bell so you can be notified. Make sure it's on all because it won't work. Some people say it don't work. So make sure it's on all. Hold up, y'all. I gotta plug in my goddamn laptop. Hold on. All right, yeah, my bad. Had to plug in my laptop. So today we have a special guest popping back through because I had a lot of people in the comments. Didn't really bother me, but oh, you're doing this, you're talking about that, and this, that, and the third. Well, we're going to do both today, but we're going to break this down with some spiritual science, and I brought an expert to break it down for you guys. So I have my good kinfolk, brother, good kinfolk, Tar, Kinoo, Noopooh in the building. What's up with you, Tar? How you doing today?
True peace. What's going on? It's been a minute, right?
Definitely been a minute. And that's another thing I wanted to say. People was like, oh, you ain't putting no knowledge up, this, that, and the third. I'm like, yo, have you been down my playlist with Tar?
Right.
With just Tar alone, have you been down that playlist? I don't think so. I really don't. So we have Tar here today breaking down Nature Boy in this whole 3 God thing. So he's going to give us some scientific and spiritual knowledge about this whole situation. And you said you believe that he's possessed. That's what it's starting to look like to me. I ain't really believe in possession. Like, you know, some things you got to see with your own eyes. You know, you got to see it for yourself to be like, oh shit, it's real.
To be more clear before we jump into that, I see Triple C in the house. True peace, sis.
What's up, sis?
In Noon, which explains all of that, spirit beings, their basic function outside of all of the other stuff you see on the planet, their basic function is to be the arms and legs of what we call universal scientists in Noon. And the universal scientists will be basically the planets, the sun, the moon, the rest of the orbs, and because they are too big to do it themselves. So imagine, a chessboard, and our body is the planet or the sun or whatnot, and our arm is like the thoughts and the energy, and our fingers is the spirits, and when it touches the particular chips and move it around, that's what they do. And even though these orbs are millions of miles apart, or even a couple of 100,000 miles, whatever the case is, or even light years away. That's what the zodiac is saying. When people are able to talk about whatever sign that they're under, those stars, planets, and all of that influence us from way over there, and that's because the energies, or we call brain newts, which are the prime movers in matter and are matter themselves, but they can't be detected. They do all of the controlling through various vehicles and degrees, and so spirit forces are in everything, person, places, and things, depending on what it is they're supposed to do and the purpose that they're supposed to serve. So all of us has a spirit. You are a spirit, I'm a spirit, but then there's an outside type of spirit that attaches itself to human beings for the sole purpose of controlling. All right.
Okay.
So being clear with that. Now, when you're talking about, all of us are possessed in the sense of we are under a spirit type of control. People talk about it all the time. My spirit, guides me. My spirit, you know what I'm saying? Or people are saying religion or Islam or whatever, they say, I got a good angel over here and a bad angel over there. They always refer to that you're being guided or controlled to a certain degree. We have will, but the will is very limited, and you only can do so much with your will. And like I said, depending on who you are, who you were born under, as far as your parents and whatever like that, that will determine what type of choices you will have, what type of patterns you will have in your life, stuff like that. Now you start talking about possession. Possession is when a spirit or spirits are aggressively interfering within the will of the limited will that the person has, or even the animal. So when you look at movies, that's super aggressive. That's stuff you really don't see on a regular unless you into those spiritual or occult type circles. Or if you know a priest or somebody that goes and that's paid to go and try to do an exorcism in those type of cases. Or if you go to a nut house, and I'm just not saying that to be disrespectful, that's just an old term. But if you go to a place where a so-called mental people are at, you see them all the time. A lot of those people are possessed, but their possession isn't controlled in the way that you will see it with, like what Nature Boy was displaying. And what you're seeing is an in and out. All right, me being a part of religion, at one time when I was in Al-Islam, if you read some of the hadith or the sayings, they'll say that Prophet Muhammad, when he used to become possessed or would have an audience with the angel Gabriel, they say he would go into a fit. And so they would cover his face up with a towel because he would make faces and all this stuff like that. Spirit forces cause different types of reactions. And a lot of it is just to keep control and scare the hell out the other people or make them feel a certain kind of way, because the spirit can possess a person and we can be talking back and forth the same way. Like say if you watch people that channel spirits on YouTube, whether they doing tarot cards or the Ouija board, you can see where all of them don't always do the same thing. They have a regular conversation. Some people can go into a trance, and because you don't have that awareness to see beyond the physical, it may look like they just playing around like, oh, okay, I'm finna go into a trance, such and such is speaking through me. There's those people are more coherent. But then you have the more scarier, like I said, the more aggressive, where they actually take control of the person themselves, and they hold. Sometimes people's eyes will roll a bit in the back of their head, it'll be white. It is all that. So it's different degrees, and depending on the nature of the spirit, it will have a different outcome based upon what they're trying to implant in the people that's watching. So
Okay,
you
so
can
you
have.
saying,
So it's
so-
different. I'm not saying nothing we all haven't seen
yeah,
in some form of a cartoon or a movie, but it's all based in reality. But in his case, because I wasn't even gonna pay him no attention. I had
me
disconnected.
neither until I
Right.
saw it
'Cause
on
I
Sunday.
disconnected from all of that stuff because if you go to my YouTube, I did like 9 videos on the conscious community, the whole history from the beginning to the end. That was it. That was my calling card. I was done because everything that I experienced with that was just a confirmation of the stuff that I had been studying for years. And my whole intent was not to be um doing this whole thing. And I know how to let the new people come in and do their thing. I'm not in competition with anybody. Anything I did when I was doing my YouTube was only for the specific intent of educating a certain group of people, which was the Nawabians and the followers of Dr. York, but I also still was perpetuating Noon science at the same time. But
Uh-huh.
I also was getting my practice on with that. But at the same time, in order for you to really move with the information to show you unlike me, you have to take a break and you have to go within sometimes. Sometimes certain things that happen in your life that'll cause that type of change. But one thing a person can do is get enlightenment when they constantly fighting. You can't do it. You can't because you have to get in that place of peace. Sometimes pain will take you there, some type of loss, so something that's going to be catastrophic on in one form or another. And when that happens, then those things will trauma would trigger those type of levels. But I think Triple C, she hit me up and told me that he was Nature Boy was on Sonetta's channel. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
so but she was like, yo, you gotta take a look at this. And I'm like,
I've been hearing the three God. I wasn't piecing it together until I actually went and looked at the video because I kept hearing
mhm,
three God this, three God that. I kept hearing it and seeing it, and I was like, "Who the hell is this three God?" So I come down to John with seeing Sinetta video, something
mhm,
something three God or Nature Boy.
right.
And I clicked on it, and that was like my first time actually like visually seeing how he works and what he's doing. Like I've heard about him, and I've heard, like I said, the Trip C's. I've heard you talk about him. I heard her talk about him. I never really went and looked for who the guy was, so I just paid it no mind until
Mhm.
it started popping up. So it took me a while. Look, damn it, you gonna stop coming over here bothering me? So, one question, what you were saying is that there are spirits that can actually hijack the body and just plain hijack the body, even though you already have your own spirit in your body. It can
Right. Because more than
basically lock you up
in
and
the body, you have more than one spirit um inhabiting it. And you know, if you listen to a person, I mean, spirits like to play games and be deceptive. So, they're not gonna tell the truth simply because the truth carries a certain type of vibration and they're against it. A lot of spirits mostly are more because of the way we at in existence on the smash circle of order, deception is at an all-time high. And this is why people can do these things, say deceptive things, and get more reception amongst the masses versus
mm,
somebody who tell the truth. That's why you can have a polite, they can show themselves to keep making mistakes and doing it over and over, doing foolishness, and people will take them back. You understand? Because the negativity in between beings know each other, and people are familiar with that, and they can feel that. And the cycle and season favors negativity more than positivity. So this is why anybody that does negative stuff can come and sit in these particular seats. And as soon as you get rid of one, another deceiver will come up and he'll get accepted, right?
That's
And
what I'm
then
seeing.
another want to come, and they just keep. So what happens is the spirit force that runs the so-called conscious community, they just keep recycling the same individuals, and the people just keep accepting and they keep accepting it. Now the thing is, until they equal stand that y'all are just as negative than just as ones that the negative force are placing in front of you. Because like Sarnetta said, as soon as he posts these people up, he get more views on the negative stuff.
True.
And that tells you, me as a metaphysician, that tells me that those people that show up for that, that's what they like.
Yeah, that's same
You
thing
see?
on my channel too.
So and it's just a reflection of yourself, but on a mundane level, these individuals are controlled and it's timed. Soon as one fall off, Polite only been out of the scene for a little while, and then here comes Nature Boy. But he's not Nature Boy now. He's something else. You see?
Somebody, Corey Bird says, what are
What are the timelines? I don't. What do you mean?
timelines?
Can you be more specific, please? Thank you.
You gotta be more specific, Corey. I think he meant to say time illnesses. Isn't that what you said? Something about a time illness?
It looked like timelines, but
Oh man, I gotta get me some glasses.
true. Another one ready. What does that mean, Yemi?
Oh, the fourth and fifth dimension timeline.
The fourth and fifth dimension timeline. I don't really deal with the dimensional type because it's a difference. Well, where we at right now would be considered 3 density or 3 south because this is where we at. The those that dimension, like the fourth dimension, is like almost 6,000 years from now. The way Noon deals with it is totally different than how everybody else deals with it, because you can't be on 3 density and the other densities exist. That's not how nature moves. That's not how these particular avenues work. You can't be at 3 south and you know, dimensions. If you look at dimensions, is either something dealing with on a measurement, you know, or you could talk about parallel universes, as they say, or you could talk about spiritual degrees. And people need to understand that the spiritual world is the atmosphere. So whenever they feel like causing confusion within human beings, that's what they do. And they can make you experience things that other people can't, and then create a whole type of time frame of misinformation, because human beings can't see spirit beings on a regular. Like, you have to train yourself to become spiritual. Like they say, open your third eye, you know, that and be able to see those things naturally. You know why you can't see it? Because the sun light has changed over millions of years, and our eyes have also changed as the sun lost heat every 100,000 years, and then the Earth, she had produced her own magnetopause, where she blocked out a lot of the sun's heat. When you look at a picture where the sun is beating on the Earth, and she has that little protection that they show you that you really can't see in real life, but it's like a magnetopause, magnetosphere.
Like the ozone layer, or whatever.
All of that stuff, it blocks the heat. But what also is being blocked is the light. And her atmosphere breaks down and it scatters the light. So it's a lot of things that light goes through, which is the atmosphere and the spirit world. And our eyes became more adjusted, losing that ability to see those colors. This is why when people study the sign, you know, they start going into chakras and all this stuff, they can see lights and colors that was that's that all you doing is seeing the sunlight. When you look at the electromagnetic light, right? And it has it broke down in all those colors: black, violet, red, yellow, orange. That light is the spirit world, and also that comes from the sun. Human beings thousands and thousands of years ago was able to perceive that light. But as the earth changed, going down through evolution, which I'll touch on that later, we started to change with it. So we can't pick up all those other colors. These colors that we wearing, the colors that I'm wearing, these are colors that the sun emits naturally. Red, black, green, all of that stuff. So we lost the ability to naturally see that in this world. So when people start talking about, oh, I went into another dimension and I've seen all these colors, that dimension still exists. It's not that you went anywhere. It's our natural abilities we lost through time. And so when we and being losing connection with our culture and all those sciences we knew, we thinking that this is new. This was done. So when charlatans come to you in this day and time with knowledge we used to know, they just corrupt, and the negative forces are programming them to send these people because they know the time is coming where people are going to wake up in a flow. Right. These people are telling you things that we already knew, but we forgot. Right. So they're bringing you part truth, but you're attracted to them because number one, the cycle and season is in for this deception, and this negative spirit that all of us carry with us programs us to go to these individuals and keep getting duped and tricked and played by them over and over again. The problem with our people or human beings in general, they don't look at it as a scientist, and they don't look for the patterns. Like they'll be able to look at it and say, okay, yeah, Pharaoh, yeah, he just like such and such. Or this person just like, yeah, you can see the scam, right? Because they notice the pattern, but they don't know the spiritual aspect of it because spirits can't be seen. So how do you see the spirit's pattern? And this brings us to with the nature boy situation. When I looked,
hold on, because somebody asked before we lose it. Don't we travel to those dimensions when we sleep? And
I wouldn't consider it traveling per se. You know, your thoughts, if you know what your mind is, you know, you in the spirit world when you sleep. Remember what I'm trying to tell you. Don't take my word for it. All I'm just telling you through my science is what I know to be true. The upper atmosphere, all that's the spirit world. The fact that you have a spirit, you're automatically connected to that. The fact that your spirit is connected to that. This is why you can do that normal by daydreaming. You ever daydream and you just really be in a trance and somebody just come do like, and you snap out of it? There you go. It's because of your connection to something that you are not naturally, our senses have been dulled down because of evolutionary radiation. They call it evolution, but that'll go into what I'm getting into a little later. All right. So all of these colors that I'm wearing, all of the colors that you see around here, things that we can naturally see, that's less than what we was able to see a long time ago. So because we've been disconnected, and the spirits we have, that's what I'm trying to get. Y'all got to understand that. The spirits that black people have been given is the most ignorant spirits available. And that was given to us so we can be deaf, dumb, and blind and be stepping stool for other races. And this is why we can't, again, patterns. This is why other races can come over here, stack up 10, 15 to a house, to an apartment, and come out of that within a year, everybody doing good. We've been living in 3-4 bedroom, paid by the government, $800, $1,000, $1,200 a month, and we ain't did a damn thing.
Exactly. I know that for a fact because I used to live in this town where it was pretty much called Little Mexico. And then above us, literally above us, there were like 15 Mexicans living in that apartment. And every apartment that had a Spanish family had at least 5 to 10 people in these little apartments.
Mhm.
So I see exactly what you mean.
So that comes from the spirits that been assigned to us through Leviathan. And because of that, that spiritual programming keeps us moving in a certain way. This is why no matter what neighborhood you went to, you're gonna see Koreans, you're gonna see Japanese, you're gonna see the bodegas or wherever that, you're gonna see the same group of people doing the same thing. And we'll be doing the same thing, going in there getting treated dirty, but still going back. You understand? Not
Sure.
once do we say, let's create our own and then go, but we had that already. And we lost that because our spirits was following the spirit that Martin Luther King Jr. had, that told those who was doing something, gave up what they had to integrate. Thus, we lost, because you can't occupy two objects, can't occupy the same place at the same time, and you can't be in two different places at the same time. Meaning, we can't be owning our own, being discriminated against, but we wanted to integrate with them. So we ended up integrating, but we left everything else, and then that had a effect on generations just by us moving from this to that. And then guess who moved in? The Koreans moved in, the Japanese. So that's
Yep.
why you got mom and pop stores that you can say been here 20, 30 years. And that's
Yep.
because we were spiritually being played through a physical person who was also being played and manipulated, and that messed up us for generations. And so now here we are. What all of that got in common is spirit beings deceptively pimping us through various degrees of people. Okay,
That's true.
So when you talking about spirituality means you need to know about spirits.
Mhm.
Spirituality don't mean how many books I can quote. That's not it. A spirit is a conscious gas that can't be seen. So if a person sit in front of you, a person who deals with witchcraft, or even a Catholic priest that deals with exorcism, got more spirituality than all of the black teachers that we got in the conscious community. Ask them, what do you know about the nature of a spirit? What type of spirits are there? Where do they come from? How do they possess a human being? How long? How do they enter a human being? How do they not enter a human being? They got nothing they can tell you about that.
I can attest to that because I did not know nothing about these different types of spirits and gases until I started
This is the
working
point
with
that
you
I'm
and
making.
reading that book.
So this is what I'm telling you. They are misguided in thinking that because they can quote all these books that's not telling me about spirituality. What you're showing me and telling me, this is the result of spirit beings bothering human beings, possessing them to write these different books. Because when you read them, like the book of Revelation, right, it'll tell you that John said, I was in the island of Patmos, and I was in the Lord's day, and the spirit came to me, this angel came to me and said, Son of man, write. So he's telling you, a spirit is telling him to do something. But if you ask, okay, how did this spirit being appear to you? Exactly what are the format from, it goes from this to you just chilling one day and then a spirit came to you and just told you to write. See, all these different things takes place. You have to know these things. You have to know, okay, where was the planet at, and what degree was it? What time of the month was it? What year was it? What planets were circling around at that time? It's different things. Spirits, events don't happen without these events being done. This is why when you watch certain mystical movies, whether it's talking about, let's say, just something that people can go find real quick. When you talking about, when they talk about the Antichrist being born, right? They'll immediately tell you, when they talk about the Satan supposed to be born, they immediately tell you have to be when what? There's a certain type of lunar eclipse, a clean virgin got to be at a certain age. They got to be killed, or this person got to be 13, and this got to line up with this planet. All that stuff is what all that stuff goes into when you start talking about this, because spirit beings are subject to the rotation of the planets and whatever orb is emanating from their distance, controlling them. So these spirits belong to different orbs, and if you can't identify that, you're wasting your time listening to them. All right. So now to jump back into what was going on with Nature Boy, when I looked at it, because it took a long time, if you watch the video, to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But me knowing what I already know, when I start seeing the females doing this and all of that, the first thing that popped out was, okay, 3, right? We know that with the eye, we know that these are symbolic things. These people are not in Hollywood. So when you see Hollywood do this, that stands for 666 because this makes the 6. But it's not really 6 per se because you're using 3. In Noon, 3 is an offspring of 6. 6 is an offspring of 9. All right. So 6
Okay.
is where you start talking about. Say it again.
I said I remember you saying that. And shout out to Freezer. Welcome to the channel.
So you're talking about numbers that represent something. So when I start seeing them keep throwing up the 3 and all this stuff, and then I seen the name is 3 God, I already knew who it was. Other people didn't recognize the call sign. I did, because I recognized the spirit signature. This is what I do. This is a part of anytime you've seen me going back and forth with different groups, spirit beings is always in the front of the people that I hang with. So if you was ever around us, if you watched the videos, if you was in any of our groups, you'll hear us throw the term around 9 ether, 6 ether, 3 ether. You'll hear those terms thrown around, and we know what those numbers represent, who they connected to. Like 9 ether is connected to our race and our hair, and the fact that our hair is kinky and it connects to the sun. And that is a remnant, and we are descendants of 9 ether. 9 ether is not here in the form of physical, but they are here in the form of energy. All right. What's dominant now is 6 ether and 3 ether, which is ghost. But when I seen the dude picture, if you can just throw this picture up again so people can get a chance to see this.
Gotcha. There we go.
All right. So if you look at the women in the back, you see them holding up the 3. All right. We have to, again, everything have its symbolisms and its numbers here. It's obvious they don't have no clue of what is behind this flesh of this man that's sitting in front of them. So what you see a bar on the top. You see basically a bar on the middle that's broken in between with a pyramid with a Hindu dot in the middle. This is pure confusion, but it's not that it doesn't fit. The reason why the Hindu dot is there is because the white race came from the Hindu. And I did some videos on your channel. They go back. I told you the Caucasian came from the Hindu race, which is the branch of the Phoenician race. So what he's doing is he's giving homage, the spirit is, of the origin of where the white race come from. Now, him being a Legio, I don't even think he's African anyway. So the fact that his name is a hint toward he may be from the Phoenician bloodline. This is why he's being made up this way by the spirit. He don't know what's going on. And then you got a third bar. So we're talking about 3. 3 deals with the number and what race is ruling on the ghost power that created the white race. So you got 3 on his face, and it stands for where we at right now in existence. And it also deals with the 3 gods that brought in the Caucasian race, the moon god, the earth god, and the underworld god. All right. And he got the Hindu nose ring in his on the side of his face. All this goes back to the parent race of the Caucasian, but this is more of a spirituality thing that it's sending a message out. And for those who didn't stand what they were looking at, I did. And so that was like, okay, let me get his attention, because that's what it was. Because I sat and I watched the videos, nobody knew what they was looking at. So I was like, all right, he did all of that because the spirit wanted me to take a look at it so it can be identified. This is what spirits do. The same way, if you watch a lot of those Catholic movies and they go in there and they'll say, they always trying to play this game where they'll say, "What is your name?" and they throw water on the demon. Tell me your name, and the demon
Yeah.
gets off on them trying to figure out what's the demon's name.
Uh-huh.
All right. So this is clear. This is somebody from Ghost God Osiris camp. Spiritually
Definitely.
speaking. This is what this is. So the demon
Made it
wants to
look up.
be known, but nobody else came out to identify the demon. So I had to come out and say something. I was just watching. I was like, yo, I already knew what this was. I'm like, people have to wake up.
Yeah, I was trying to make sense of it. Because to me, it seemed like he was just doing what Dr. York did, throwing a bunch of different stuff together.
Right. But that's how the game is played with deception. Everything you're seeing, whether you understand it or not, or how confusing it looks through the person, that's
Uh-huh.
you can't blame it on that. These people are not acting, but the spirit is playing in such a way it wants to still infer doubt while at the same time telling you that it's true. And because I
I
understand
just
how
looking
that
for a
works,
nutcase.
it's why I
I
was
just
able to say, okay, I didn't really want to sit through and watch this spirit force, but
yeah,
I did it just for the simple fact because I knew that it's going to be something that have to be known because these spirits have to let you know that they exist because they're invisible. And so because these spirits have a serious narcissist problem, they have to do this look at me,
yeah.
look at me, look at me.
That's the one thing I noticed about him is me, 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 me.
Right.
I. If you teach your how you supposed to be teaching people that they're gods, but you're teaching them to be slaves to you. That it didn't make no sense to me.
It makes sense when you understand that that's what spirits do. They exist to cause harm and oppression and repression and slavery, and they cause human beings to do these things to themselves and others, and it creates trauma and it traps the people. And when they leave, they go out and hurt other people, and so that's what they serve on top of everything else. Now we start going into the other part about sex. Now you going into the God that's above them, which is Leviathan. And so now you're talking about a whole sex force that does these different things. And this is why all of these cult leaders, they always have sex involved because sex is a driving force in the bottom half of existence. And so people are not aware of that either. So you have many forces that do exist, and you have to just know what you're looking at if you want to be able to navigate. And when these people or these spirits want to get into black people's head and more confusion, they make their way to Sarnetto, and he gonna pop them up and put them out there.
Uh-huh.
If somebody like me was on that show, half of them these cats would never get anywhere because I know what to say. I would know how to question them and explain at the same time. This is just a bunch of foolishness. And what it does is every time he brings these type of individuals on his show, it proves that none of them know what they're dealing with. And
Yeah.
because of that, that's why they're not qualified, but they're the most best to use because they platforms get used to put them out there to gravitate more people who confused in the world who think that okay, this must be the way I should do it, or maybe I should follow someone like this because even though Nature Boy is talking crazy, he's speaking things that a lot of people that's ignorant haven't heard, and they like, man, I never seen that, or wow, I never seen a guy that claims to be a spiritual guru, and they got women, and he smoked weed, and he cussing, and he getting bread, all of those things, and nobody is there to combat that with intelligence. And so every time I seen this throughout time, all they do is either think the people is crazy or they plan, and they just allow them to just keep coming back, gathering more people to confuse and hurt and harm. And so that was just the introduction to that. But the information I got can go in a little deeper just to be more articulate with what to what is going on a metaphysical meaning. Meta mean beyond, and physical meaning, things that take up space. So This is the problem. Y'all are looking at metaphysical, meaning it's not beyond, it's right in front of you. And this is why a lot of people can't get it. Y'all are metaphysical, not meta, meaning beyond the eyesight.
That's hilarious. Metaphysical.
Right. Metaphysical is what y'all doing. Y'all seeing things in the physical, but you still can't determine what's behind. So when I say metaphysicists, I'm speaking of beyond the physical. Because you're talking about light, the same way I told you about these colors. The sun has light spectrums that scientists have to use different technology to show you what is already there. So if the light is already there, you have to ask the question, why can't we see these lights and these colors? And guess what? Spirit beings are all part of that light spectrum. So that's the reason why you can't see spirits. See? It's different when you add the scientific component into the conversation. Because I didn't come on here to make fun of Nature Boy, because right now he's in a position that's not a good position. When these type of spirits aggressively take over you, ain't nothing you could do about it. Especially if it's a type of demigod spirit, because they're gonna make you do what it is they need you to do. And he already been in training for years, going down, down, down. It doesn't matter physically, he don't have to look like it, but morally and mentally, he's been going down.
Yeah.
He at that point where he's harming himself in kind. You seen what he was doing? He had them women on that beach fighting till they was bleeding.
Yes.
So imagine what he was doing way overseas. We heard the stories, we seen it. What y'all looking at is the spirits that came in and out that got him to where he's at now. He's at his pinnacle, but the pinnacle is 3 South is a downward thing. But the worse something is, the more glorification it gets because of the way the negativity and reverse things work. So a lot of people don't understand that. Like, we know what goes on in Hollywood and all of that stuff. So people keep thinking like we did until we got the facts that because you was wearing a chain and you got money and you smiling, you getting the star on the Walk of Fame and all this stuff, and you smiling and going to these parties, but inside these people were destroyed because of the things that they did. Why do you think people like DMX them got on drugs so bad? Because they was trying to forget all of the filthy things what they were doing to stay in there, and they still died broke. They still went out. So, but the point of the matter is, spirit beings is this: positive, negative. Some do good, some do bad, some do both. And the demon is a pretty fair word to use, but also it depends on, like I said, what spirit may do for you may be considered good versus what a spirit may do for me may be bad. Like I said, a spirit to most people is considered good if it don't do you no harm and do good things for you. But that don't make the spirit good. It just means the spirit can do what you would term good. People do it all the time when they get into different branches of magic, and they can call on whatever deity they can call on, or help a spirit or help a demon, and get that demon to go do things for them. That's just like you having a homeboy or somebody you could pay to go handle your light work. That don't mean that's your real homeboy. That's just somebody that likes to do certain things that's negative, and you paying and they gonna do it. But that don't make that person a nice person.
I've seen a lot of people mistake their hitman for friends,
right?
Loyal friends.
Yeah, people thought Nino Brown was the man because he gave out turkeys, but that don't mean nothing.
He was also killing everybody in the
right.
neighborhood.
So that's what I mean. So it's the nature of a thing or a person, and you can tell if a person or a spirit wants positive when they promote positive, meaning they're striving to bring people together. They're trying to work with the situation at hand. A negative person or spirit is going to do the opposite of that continuously. All right. So we can look at, if we go by those basics alone, we can tell what's moving Nature Boy. Now you want to know what's really, really moving them? Then we have to go into the information that I got.
Yeah.
And
Shadow, that's true. Bobby Hemmett. I did hear Bobby Hemmett talk about this too.
so I think the first place I'm gonna go into, let me see. It's the BIAE.
I do remember Bobby Hemmett speaking about this.
108. Yeah, but you got a lot of people that play with spirits and they still don't realize what they're dealing with. You know, and so you have to know what you're doing.
That seems
what
like
I tell people.
what happened to Aleister Crowley. He was
he got lost in the sauce.
Yeah, he trying to mess around in that spiritual realm. But then when you hear I heard Bobby Hemmett's version. Bobby talks about him as if like they just shunned him and made him look crazy because he identified God being black. And
he identified what?
He identified the God that he was speaking to as being black.
That shouldn't be enough. Just because spirits.
No, I'm saying that's why that's what Bobby Hemmett said. They outcasted him for white folks because he started saying God is black. That's the way he.
Right, but again, spirits are tricky and elusive. They can do things to get your trust and then get you to put out information that's not actually true. Because you got two type of spirits. You either got ghosts, which is white, or you got ether, which is black. Mm-hmm. But if people don't equal stand that, you know, of course he was dealing with spirit forces that just wasn't dealing with ghosts. You got the black spirits or ether, and how Noon terms it. So again, that's just because he said God was black, that means all that stuff he was doing, sleeping with different women and animals and doing all type of sex magic, that was okay. That was you mean to tell me that Mr. Hemmett, no disrespect to the elder, that qualifies him? What about all of that?
Yeah, I never knew about that part.
All you got to do is look. I studied Aleister Crowley. I seen what he was into.
I read the like that certain section of the book that Bobby Hemmett pointed to. That's the only thing I read out of that book.
Yeah, you can go on YouTube and just pull up. They call him they used to call him the Antichrist. They say he was the evilest man alive and all of that.
Yeah, and they said he was like the father of Freemasons or something like that.
I don't know about that, but he definitely I think he played a part in the guy that started Scientology. He influenced L. Ron Hubbard.
Okay.
That's what he did. He influenced, and I think he had something to do with that name Scientology.
I thought it was Tom Cruise. I thought it was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is into that.
Yeah, that's why I made the joke.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett, Will Smith played with Scientology. Isaac Hayes, Forrest Whitaker. It's a lot of black people that playing around in that. When you trace it all the way back, it goes into the occult and all of those negative black magic thing they was doing. But it's a spirit thing too. So if you understand the spiritual pattern, that's what I keep talking about. Spirituality is being able to identify the patterns of spirits and what makes a spirit, where they come from, you know, why do they exist, what are their purpose, you know, why do they go about choosing certain type of people, things like that. Because spirit beings are more, they recruit, they incarnate, they possess, they jump from body to body, they do a lot of, they create negative conditions, they can create positive conditions. You know, they can stop life from being born. They can take on different forms as far as visually. They can make you see things that are not there. They can make you believe certain stuff. All of the things you're seeing in your world right now is the result of spirit forces in one degree or another. And because we don't know that, is why people keep saying, I'm just trying to find out, you know, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. No, you're not. You physical. I can see you. You're not spiritual. Yeah. This is foolishness. But I understand it's not that I'm judging them, because I'm saying I equal stand why. But I'm just trying to make a little joke and be light of it at the same time, because we're in dangerous times and people are so spiritually clouded They don't know when their eyes are being tricks are being played on. This is why I keep referring to this. These are colors that are seen every day in the scientific world. The sunlight has all the colors you can think of. The same way when the sun and it rains, you can see the rainbow at these certain times. It was time when you can see colors like that all the time, no problemo. And now we can't. And so we need to start investigating light and not light in the metaphysical department, light from an astronomy department. Use science that correlates, that can support certain things without the spookism. Because all of us who have enough intelligence are able to retain this information. But I wanted to jump into this real quick. Let me share my screen. You know, and anybody got questions, just give me a second.
Yeah, if anybody has questions, feel free to ask the questions in the chat, and I'll try to get to them as much as possible.
All right, let me know if you can see that.
There we go. Yeah, we can see it.
Is it showing yet?
Yeah, it's showing.
All right. You see there, it say Bible interpretation, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna read this. All right, it says universal knowledge called Noopooh, right? This is old, but Afro changed this to noon later on, but I'm leaving it how it is. Informs us Ethiopians that there were three creations: original or primary creation, evolutional or secondary creation, and then ghostational, or tertiary creation. Primary creation was performed by nine ether, whose science was Noopooh or noon science. Nine ether is the combination of all existing gases of nature. Nothing anywhere can be as powerful as all existing gases. Therefore, nine ether is the most potent power in the universes. Hence, nine ether is the original creator who grew all the universes. In Noopooh, noon science, the word creation means growth into form or system or both, and the word destruction means change in form or composition or both. Nine ether is conscious and conscience gases. The Ethiopian race and the person of the African pygmies came along with original creation. That is, the same kind of ether force that grew the universes also grew the dwarf Ethiopians, the pygmies. Therefore, the pygmies and their evolutionary descendants are the personification of the original creative forces. To put it another way, the African pygmy created the universes in their spirit form, nine ether, then personified themselves as flesh and blood beings. There are two kinds of ether. One is nine ether, two is six ether. Nine ether produce six ether, and six ether produce ghosts. All right. Nine ether becomes six ether through time and age. Six ether becomes ghost through time and age. Six ether is nine ether in death, and ghost.
That's the wheel, right?
That's the wheel of existence. Yeah, but that's part. But these are gases on the smat circle. But yeah, it's called the wheel in another book, which we're gonna get to that in a minute.
Okay.
All right.
So somebody asked, what are your views on calling on our ancestors?
Say again.
What are your Jocelyn asks, what are your views about calling on the ancestors?
Again, your ancestors are within you. However, you have to be careful. The same way calling on spirits and not knowing what you contacting. You can call your ancestors, but you got good and bad ancestors. So it's like throwing the net in the water and then pulling stuff out and just eating whatever's in the net. That's not gonna be good for you. What I suggest is let me come back in.
No, not Bobby Hemmett wasn't doing animals. He's saying Aleister Crowley was doing animals, and Bobby Hemmett forgot to mention that part when he was talking about
exactly. That's what I was saying. We in the age of technology now. There's no excuse for people to not be able to go research these people now and stop just listening and stopping at what a person is saying. You have to do research. So And Mr. Hammett saying that is showing you that that's definitely not a good thing. You know, this is why Inky and them was going in on Mr. Hammett and Mr. Valentine, and all of them was talking about the anal chakra and snorting cocaine and having sex in the anus was a part of, you know, what they believed in.
You
So
talking about him? Believe that?
yeah, if you go to Inky's if you go to Inky's channel and go all the way back when he came out with the polite thing,
Say it ain't so, Bobby.
if you go after him start going in on polite, he put a montage of a collage of videos where all of them was talking about the power, the most powerful part of the chakra was the root chakra in the anus, and having anus sex and cocaine and all that. That's them.
Oh man,
It's all of them over there. I don't want to say other people's name I don't remember, but I know it was Hammett, Bobby Hammett, Phil Valentine, and a few other people was all talking about that.
Phil Valentine, not Phil. Please,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I promise you, this is what they into. Aleister Crowley and them was all into that. So of course, Bobby Hammett is going to say that. I'm not. Yeah, it's calling the booty. Yeah, the I'm telling you, it was. I'm telling you, this is the root chakra. This is their own teachings. For those who know what Inky channel is, go to Inky's channel, go all the way back, and you're gonna see a bunch of videos of all of them teachers, the so-called elders of the conscious community, was teaching that. And this is where Polite and all of them get this whole thing from. Same thing with York, them was getting this whole thing from. Because you have to understand the occult and then trace it back. But all of this go back to spirit beings and the cycle and what we're in. So it's not that I'm just trying to put all of the responsibility on the human, but I'm giving you a way to trace this stuff back so you can go and look for yourself and then decide for yourself, is this what I've been not seeing? And this goes back to what I told y'all in the beginning. Our spirits guide us to all these sick individuals for years. Now you got people that's on here who didn't even know that. Did you know Noble Drew Ali hung out with Aleister Crowley?
Open the door for the cat. You said what?
Did you know Noble Drew Ali hung out with Aleister Crowley and
I thought you said like got with him. Like you said got with him. I was wait, what?
Say what now?
No, because I thought you said, did you know that Aleister Crowley got with like
no. Noble Drew Ali hung out with Aleister Crowley, and they was a part of his initiation when he went overseas to Egypt. You already know what Crowley was about. Why is Drew hanging out with him and a bunch of other sick people?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's on record.
That's crazy. I gotta start this. See, me, I'm not the type of person that go digging, so sometimes things go right past me.
It's there. I'm not telling y'all nothing you can't go find on your own. So what do you have to understand is spiritually. So again, what do y'all really know about spirituality? Nothing. We can speak to how we've been pimped by them, for sure. We all been used and abused. Just look at your life. Look at the circumstances. You can say, damn, if you keep finding yourself, why this keep happening to me? That means you have no idea about what spirit beings do and how they work.
That's true.
Okay? So you have to just roll with me with what I'm trying to say, because I'm not here to make fun of none of these people. I'm just telling you that spirits choose these individuals and then they push them out there. And if you look at all of them, when you go deeper past just the, meeting at their temples and all that, if you look into their writings, and then those who might have had secret writings outside of what they had, then you'll start to see that spirits are behind the whole corruption and making it worse as you get further and further down in history, it just keep doing the same thing in a different person. Malcolm said the same thing, you know, that Elijah Muhammad was basically possessed. He said Elijah Muhammad justified messing with all those women because he said he was Solomon reincarnated. I heard Malcolm say this
Oh,
on a
man.
tape.
Yeah, it's a
So
lot of stuff about these leaders that are really coming to light.
right, but the spirit been there all along, and the spirit will let you know that they are there.
Jada, we know you hear it with what you here to do. But
All right,
you can continue with
all right. Let me go back to where I was. Can you still see what I'm looking at?
yeah, yeah, we can still see it.
All right.
Royalty, what's up? ER, what's up?
Therefore, the pigments and their evolutionary descendants are personifications of the original creative forces. That'll be us. To put it another way, the African pygmies created the universes in their spirit form, nine ether, and then personified themselves as flesh and blood beings. Right? There are two kinds of ether: nine ether, six ether. Nine ether produced six ether. Six ether produces ghosts. Nine ether became six ether through time and age. Six ether becomes ghost through time and age. Six ether is nine ether and death, and ghost is the death of six ether. After the death of six ether, called the moon or ghost cycle, nine ether rises again. Right? So we're in that time now. So I'm gonna jump to 110. Let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
All right.
Well, as you moving it's going on real time. 31 people in the building. Make sure y'all hitting that like button.
All right. You can see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Ghost is conscious gases, which is less various gases in it than six ether. All right. When you see these things, when you look up the word spirit and gas basically has the same definition. So when you talk about a spirit and then you start talking about a gas, it's the same difference. It's just the name is different. If you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
All right, let me do this real quick. Just for the watching and listening audience.
Don, what's up?
Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Just let me see. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to spirit first. All right, so y'all can see this. So that way it just be easier to equal stand that. All right, let me switch this off real quick. I'm gonna go to the other one, then we'll come back to this. So just bear with me, y'all. Let me know when you can see it.
Hold on, I gotta put it on my bag. There we go.
Okay, you there? All right, hold on. All right, the word spirit, right? You see it?
Yeah.
All right, middle 13th century, animating or vital principle in man and animals, right? So that means animals got spirits. A spirit, Old French, is spirit, soul, spirit, directly from the Latin spiritus, a breathing, respiration, and or the wind, breath of a god, right? So that means, again, a god is a spirit. And it also ties into the breath. Hence inspiration, breath of life, hence life. So that the different thing is this: a spirit needs a human being to exist, not the other way around. That's another thing that religion plays a game with people. You can live without a spirit, but a spirit can't live without you. Remember that.
Oh wow. I didn't know that.
Also, disposition, character, high spirit, vigor. This is why spirits are always messing with human beings, because they need us to exist. All right, see ghost, 1500, a nature, character, sense of essential principle of something. Non-theological context as a spirit of St. Louis is a text from 1680, common after 1800. From 14th century in alchemy as a volatile substance, distilled substance capable of uniting the fixed and the volatile elements of the philosopher's stones, hence spirits. And now you're talking about even in alchemy, a spirit is a volatile substance. You're talking about taking energies and chemicals and doing some things with them. So now watch this. When you look up gas, y'all remember this from now on out. Let me know you can see it.
I can see it.
All right, look. Dutch, gas, probably from what? Chaos, empty space. The sound of Dutch, G, is roughly equivalent to that of Greek, ka, right? Remember that KH, ka sound is the same sound they use in Kemet for what? The spirit,
The
the
soul.
ka,
Yeah, I was gonna say the soul.
right? Ba is for the soul, but the ka is
So
for the
Ba
spirit.
and Ka.
Right.
I thought you was like 4 different. One like sits over your body, guards your body. One goes up.
No, the
It's like
spirit is
4,
in the
right?
body. That's deception. Spirit can't live outside the body.
Oh, okay. Because they said it was like the Ba, the Ka, and I think it was 2 other. One
Yeah,
supposed to
I kind of vaguely remember that.
ascend. Yeah, one's supposed to ascend. The other one is supposed to stand guard over your body. I forgot what the other 2 do. I gotta go back and look at it. I don't want to be wrong.
Right,
I
but
think I know what it is,
I
but I don't
remember
want to
that,
be
but
wrong.
not exactly where.
Yeah.
Here it says right here in the occult center, proper elements of what? Spirits. Ultrafiled water. Definition of gas. All right, let me click on this one.
27 people in the building. Make sure y'all hitting that like button, family.
So we just seen that where it tells you, talks about it's a spirit. Gas and spirit are the same thing. If you look up spirit, and it's Latin, like I said, it goes back what? See, ghost. So now we're talking about ghosts in the BIAE, remember?
Uh-huh.
So we talking about ether, but ghost is a form of ether. The difference between 3 ether not being the same as 6 or 9 ether, there's no burning there. Because ether means burning with life. So when you start talking about ether, even if you go all the way back to the Nas, ether, right? It tells you that he said ether that make you burn slow. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Ether is a burning. Ghost is not a burning. All right.
Okay.
And the reason why, okay, now 6 ether, let me go into that real quick. So when you start talking about 6 ether, right? I told y'all a while back, 6 ether is gamma radiation. That's what the green represent, right?
And that's
It
what
has
Osiris.
healing properties in it, but it also has negative properties in it, right? That's the image and power of Zupu. Noopooh is the red, which is infrared, which is life. Green is the life of death, where we live at, and the only way you can constantly keep life going is to constantly reproduce. When Noopooh is in, the red is the life of life, that's infrared light. That's a different type of existence when Noopooh is in. And then you have black for space and germination, and blue is for the sky. So when you start talking about 6 ether is, again, they call it evolutionary radiation. All right, but I just took a little bit of notes real quick. All right, so 6 ether gamma radiation produces 3 ether ghosts from the sun called solar neutrinos. All right, a solar neutrino is a neutrino originally from the sun's core and is the most common type of neutrino passing through any source observed on Earth at any particular moment. Neutrinos are elementary particles with extremely small rest mass and neutral electronic charge. They only interact with matter via the weak interaction, also called the weak force, and gravity, making their nuclear detection very difficult. That's, you can find that on Wikipedia. All right, now for those who've been following Noon Science, who've been on the website and got the books, it says in Noon that 6 ether gave way to 3 ether. But before we go into that, in regular mundane science, because I told you 6 ether is gamma radiation. So
Okay.
I want,
So
before we
can
jump,
spirits speak through the body?
they speaking
Peaceful
through them. They
spirit.
speak all the time. A lot of times people not aware that the spirit is speaking, but it does. But if you're talking about being more like the spirit speaking through a person and directly making a distinction between the person and them, like this is not such and such, this is me
Yeah.
speaking, that
Like
again,
channeling.
it depends on the type of person and what they supposed to be doing. Spirits, we all got spirits. You hear them talk to you sometime, but it's hard to discern if that's your ancestors talking, or that's your reasonability talking, or it's the spirit. This is, again, this
That's
is what I keep saying. You have to have high reasonability to be able to be able to discern. That's what a lot of our people problem is. We lack discernment. And so when you got a spirit that's working against you, it will corrupt and interfere with your discernment, so it can manipulate you for the sole purpose of just doing that. All right, give me a second.
That makes a lot of sense. Peaceful spirit, welcome to the channel.
All right, let me get over here. All right, let me share my screen. I hope I'm not boring anybody. I'm just trying to make sure
Oh,
people.
making a lot of sense because I've been trying to wrap my mind around this stuff since I first saw that video. I've been trying to wrap my head around this shit. So you're definitely putting it into perspective for me.
All right, so this is called evolutionary radiation, and radiation is produced from gamma waves from the sun. All right, so when you get into evolutionary radiation, right, this is what happens. And evolutionary radiation is an increase in taxonomic diversity that is caused by elevated rates of speciation that may or may not be associated with an increase in morphological disparity. Radiations may affect one clade or many and be rapid, gradual, where they are rapid and driven by single lineage adaptation to the environment that are adaptive radiation. So when you start talking about taxonomy, it means a biology. Taxonomy is the scientific study of naming different, circumscribing and classifying groups of biological organisms based on shared characteristics. And these are animals that for millions of years the radiation from the sun mutated them. You understand? And then you went from one type of animal and it mutated within the same in the clade. This is the definition of clade. Let me get to that. This is what a clade is. A clade is a branch, also known as the monophyletic group or natural group. It's a group of organisms that are monophyletic. What is that? Monophyletic, that is composed of a common ancestor and his lineal ancestor and his lineal descendants on a phylogenetic tree. So over here you may have these colors here represent animals that are grouped together separate based upon their characteristics, but they all come down here where this arrow at. And this arrow say this is the animal down here up to date. But when they trace the bloodline back, it goes into 3 different types of groups. That's what gamma radiation does. It changes the features of a species slowly but surely. I'm gonna give you a good example. So I'm gonna show you a picture.
Hey, Jocelyn, if you go down my upload playlist, there's at least like 50 videos of Tar on there. This isn't the first time Tar been here. Tar was here for like a month or two straight every night going in.
So if you look at these right here, the bird in the middle, right? You see the white bird? Or is it still loading up?
Wait. You talking about the white bird on the upper right, right?
No, the bird in the middle, the white bird in the middle.
Oh, at the bottom. Oh,
Right.
I see.
Right. This bird is connected to all these other different birds right here. These birds would be more ancient. So you got these birds here is all connected. They all connected. You got the sipping nectar, the probing insects, and the crushing seeds. So these birds, that's what you call a clade. And what the sun did was its gamma radiation mutated these things. That's what they not telling you. That's why when you look at the Credible Hulk, when he got hit with that gamma radiation, he changed. He mutated. He became more angrier, because 6 ether is a aggressive, negative, destroying force. And that's why they made the Credible Hulk off of that, because the energy that comes from the sun through gamma radiation is definitely a destroying energy that causes age and death. But if y'all didn't understand that, this is why you need the information that is being spoken to you right now. So what I'm gonna just showcase the website real quick one more time, so they can see the website, and then we can move forward. So let me know you can see the website, because there's 2 on here. It's Find 9 News, and then you got 9 by Nature.
I see it. It's up there.
All right. So for those who are interested, when you come to this website, right at the top where it say books, or what a free PDF books that we're kind of looking into tonight. And if you need books for up to date, this is books that me and another can put up. Well, it was 3 of us at the time. So you'll see some of our works here. We got books on the sun, our hair, certain books breaking down stuff in the Bible. I got a couple of Revelation books over here. We got a book on the gases of nature, written by Queeple. We got a book me and a new head did together right here, which is Noopooh equals 72. So it's a lot of good things on here that you need to take a look at, because a lot of us are lacking what we need to do. The nature books is what my books are based on. So if you decide to want to know more about Noopooh and things like that, like I got a book that explains the coming of Noopooh based upon, the stars and the planets and how they were moving and things like that. It's a lot of things you have to play around with. You have to have a little knowledge of astronomy, astrophysics. It's the sciences that's out there are very large and deep, and people are learning new stuff every day. So sometimes they have to reroute all of the things that they learn. But that's just something that y'all need to do. Definitely check out, like I said, 9 by Nature. That's the health site, and this site is where the books and stuff at. I got a podcast too, if y'all didn't know. This is on my podcast right here.
I'm making sure I put the right. It's find9news.com. Okay, I'll
right.
Put it up right.
So if you want to watch the podcast, you just click on that, and then you can click on this, and it'll take you over to the to my podcast. So I got a lot of things over here. Conversation that I'm having, and I interview certain people, I put them over here, things like that. So we're trying to, you know, keep the information going and try to keep people up on, you know, some of the updates and stuff like that. And just like Remy said, you can go down his playlist and there's plenty of videos over there as well. All right. I don't, let me see, it's still moving. Okay. All right. So let's jump back to what we was reading real quick. All right, so ghost is a conscious gas because I had to jump around so y'all can see that ghost and spirit or gas and spirit pretty much they gas means spirit mean gas. And so when you start talking about gases and noon, know that we talking about spirits and vice versa. Ghost is a weaker gas combination than 6-ether. Just as 6-ether is weaker than 9-ether. 9-ether is a facious fluid fire. Ghost station or territorial creation was done by God 6,000 years ago. And this is one reason why Caucasians taught that the captain that God created the world and man 6,000 years ago. Now, this is what it was that I meant to do. That's what I'm sorry. This right here. So it's telling you that ghost came from 6-ether, right? So 6-ether is gamma radiation. All right. And what that means is that ghost came from 6-ether, which comes from the sun. All right. So when you start, I told you scientifically, these ghost ether, 3-ether would be considered solar neutrinos. I don't know if I mentioned that to you yet.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. So I'm finna. Yeah, let me. We're gonna come back to this because I that's why I set this up this way. Because when you start hearing me say ghost, 3-ether, all this other stuff, understand what I'm talking about. Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. So this is just giving proof that Afro Uno knew what he was talking about. See what it say? Ghost particles gliding through the sun. So this is proof that these scientists definitely was able to confirm what Afro Uno said all the way back in the 60s. Because the book I'm reading from was in 68. They just found this out 2018 and maybe a little bit before. It said, look at this. It said, ghost particles gliding through the sun reveal inner workings of solar furnace. Using nearby undetectable particles, a team of international researchers has peered into the sun's heart, which is his brain, and sketched the intricate chain of reaction that drive the solar furnace. In results published October the 24th, in Journal Nature, investigators of the Borixino collaboration report the most detailed record to date of neutrinos produced by fusion reactions in the solar interior, often called what? What they say? What often called what?
Hold on, because I can't see the letters.
I highlighted it.
Ghost particles.
Right, ghost particles. So we know that ghost is white, but the question is how is the sun producing ghosts? So Afro Uno had
got all
already
the colors, right?
huh?
But that's because the sun got all the colors, right?
It's not that. It's really because of the electrical charge. Ghost particles don't hold no electrical charge. But the point is, you made me laugh over that. The point is, Afro Uno was told by Noopooh that that 6-ether produced ghost ether, which is 3-ether. Scientists now confirming that the sun is producing particles. What? Because particles is what makes up atoms. Ghost, ether, 6-ether, 9-ether, all are made up of atoms that's made up of particles. So you're talking about the core essence of what makes up atoms, particles. So we talking about energy. So the sun, you can see the sun, but you can't see the ghost because it doesn't hold electrical charge, and that means it doesn't have things that make it have any color. It's like colorless. But the reason that ghosts have color in it in the light is because the sun, the light that is given off now outside of the earth is white. So we can't see the colors too funny because of that too. And our eyes have adjusted over time. The same way when you go into a dark room, your eyes adjust, right? Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, our eyes was adjusting to the new way things were looking, meaning because we start losing those gifts. But if you go back in time, our eyes and the light spectrum would link up to it. We'd be able to pick it up versus having to use technology to see what we used to see natural. All right. So it's a ghost particle because they pass through matter without leaving a trace. Neutrinos can be used as proxies to determine the chain of reactions that make up solar fusion. The reaction that spews forth the sun's tremendous energy. Physicists use the techniques because the sun is so dense that the light and energy produced by the reactions in the sun's center take tens of thousands of years to reach the solar periphery where they can be observed. Neutrinos, on the other hand, interact so weakly with matter that those produced in the core of the sun can be observed on the earth within minutes or the reactions that spawn them. Because they're so weak, they're not heavy. So they're able to not only do that, they pass through any object and don't grasp onto it because there's no electrical charge. Like human beings, we have electrical charges, right? You know how you can rub your feet on a carpet, a rug, and electricity. When you start talking about electricity and then you start talking about the soul, this is why when black people dance, it's electrical. Or people with melanin dance, they have that electric energy. Caucasians being the offspring of Ghost God through that ether, originally they didn't have what you call soul or rhythm per se. But because they mixed in with all these people on the planet, it's how they got that charge. Now they can dance as better, close or better. Or you got an Eminem that can rap way better than the Beastie Boys. If you was to put him next to the Beastie Boys and Vanilla Ice, it's like ain't no way y'all part of the same race. But it's because of the energy. It's because of the mixing that transference was able to be given over. If I'm making sense, I hope I'm not losing anybody.
No, you making sense.
So so now we're talking about physics. So when you understand where to look, it's explainable. It'll be hard for us to take it in because we didn't learn this type of information. So when you start talking about you start talking about the sun, nuclear reaction, the fission. You start how the sun changes energies and things like that. But these ghosts, and the reason is beginning doing that because the sun has been burning in a state of 6 ether death. All right, the sun gamma core, its core started running out of that fusion 6,000 years ago, and that ghost started coming out of the sun. That's when Osiris was born. So you start talking, if you start
that's
going
Ghost God, right?
huh?
Osiris,
right?
Osiris is Ghost God,
right? When 6 ether died, right, because of it's been burning almost 18 million years, but it was like 17 some million years at this point. A part of it died, and Ghost God was born from that. And they said instantly, soon as that charge doesn't reach, like right here, it says physicists use the techniques because this sun is so dense that the light and energy produced by the reactions in the sun center take 10,000 years to reach the solar periphery, where they can be observed. Neutrinos, on the other hand, interact so weakly with the matter that those produced in the core of the sun can be observed on the earth within minutes, or the reaction that spawned them. So they're weak. That means they're not held in the core of the sun like the rest of it, and it immediately is on the earth. So 6 ether died, according to Afro Unu, 6,000 years ago, that's when Ghost God started to make his appearance on Earth. So when you read about Osiris and Ra was once together or they was cool, it just means that Osiris as an energy, right? As an ether, as a
I
neutrino.
thought Osiris was Ra's son.
Say again?
Osiris is Ra's son, right?
I
That's
think
his
his
son,
hold
one
on.
of his offspring.
I thought that was Geb was his father. Wait a minute.
I thought Ra gave birth to the
Hold on.
Osiris.
Hold on. Let me get it right real quick.
Make sure I'm right too.
Because I think it's Geb. Yeah, it's Geb. And Geb represents the earth god. So what happens is when this, because the sun is life, right, in the bottom half, as well as life in the front. So when the sun started emanating ghosts into the atmosphere, remember ghosts,
Oh yeah, it's not his son. He became.
right? So what happened is his energy, the neutrinos pass through objects as well as I think lead. So Ghost God goes through the surface of the planet. It can't pass through lead. So that means Ghost God went down into the earth as far as lead can be found and started to gather itself in the earth so far down and became known as methane. So that's the thing right there. So Osiris did come from Ra, but we talking about scientifically as neutrinos that couldn't hold an electric charge, meaning it's not weight, it don't have enough charge to hold on to nothing. Just like why you see ghosts like Casper pass through the person. And because ghost ether doesn't have an electrical charge, it has to stay outside of the body because it's not heavy enough. It don't have an electrical charge. And just like other spirits, they can incarnate into the human body and receive blood and nutrition from what you eat. Ghost doesn't have that. So ghosts have to create accidents and death and suicides and blood spilling like, whether it's, at a chicken plant or death or people down on the field in a war. That's how ghost ether gets his blood. That's why they have to spill it
Okay.
on the ground. This is why
So
the
that's
Bible talks about Cain killed Abel and the Lord said, your brother's blood cries to me from the ground because
yeah.
Osiris
So
is in the ground.
so that's where people like Young Pharaoh, Nature Boy, and all these other black jobs come into play from these type of spirits, right? That's what you're saying.
Okay, repeat that again.
I said so. That's where people like Nature Boy and Young Pharaoh and those type of people, those type of nutcase type dudes. That's where they come in. They're being manipulated by those type of spirits that you're speaking of, right?
Yeah, because they're not picking these names out of a hat. These forces want to be seen and they want to be known, and they're being made to come in front of us in order for noon science to show y'all who's who and what's what, so y'all can stop not knowing that these gods ain't went nowhere, that they've been here. They just been jumping from body to body, using other people for whatever purpose they had to use them for. But now they got to come and show themselves to us to show that okay, we left y'all thousands of years ago because the cycle called for us to leave y'all and do all these negative things. It don't mean accept them back because their nature have changed. They're not the same as they was long time ago. We got Noopooh here for us, which is the original creators. Those of our ancestors that they would the person was asking about. Go to the book site, go to the website, get the books and the PDFs for free. Download those books first. Read, study them, and research them. Then purchase the books on Fine Nine News, because you're not gonna understand my books that I authored based upon the nature books if you haven't studied those and the Bible interpretation, because that's the only thing it's gonna do. You're just not gonna get it. And I don't want that to be the case. All right, I'm back on the page. You can still see it.
Yeah, you can see it. I'm gonna put myself on mute for a sec. You can go ahead.
All right. So it says the Caucasians taught the captive that God created the world and man 6,000 years ago, but they did not tell the captive they meant the Caucasian world and the Caucasian man or race. The spirituality of God is religion. The albino group called Cain was the beginning of the Caucasian race, and Cain was the beginning of God's creation. We talking about ghost God. When 6 ether reaches its climax in evolution, which was 6,000 years ago, it produces ghost, and ghost is God. 3 ether, solar neutrinos, ghost particle, same thing. The posterity of 9 ether is the Ethiopian. The woolly head tar. The posterity of 6 ether is the Phoenician, Indian, and Mongolian. The straight haired original man, the posterity of ghost god, is the Caucasian race. The straight haired man, moon cycle man, who was extracted from original man through the ghost process. When seen with the spiritual eye, ghost looks like haze or fog, and this means that ghost is white and thereby the last stage of color. Hence, since the Caucasian race came into being by ghost station, it has less color than any other race. All the original Caucasians, Cain in parentheses, had silver or yellow hair, white skin, and blue eyes. But their face now has various degrees of mixture with darker peoples. So the original Caucasians was blonde and blue-eyed with silverish like skin. All right. Yellow hair, white skin, and blue eyes. I'm sorry. And so that in itself will explain why you don't see that now. Some people be like, oh, the Nordic race or the Nordic peoples look like that, but if you go further back. So I hope some of this stuff is making sense to everybody, because we are definitely behind when it comes to this type of misinformation. And that was just the first part that I wanted to get into. And as soon as you come back, because like I told you, this is deeper than Nature Boy. This is not something to be picking at it, because the person, when people get possessed by spirit beings, is the spirits will look out for them to an extent, but it will torture them. And based upon his history, that he definitely is a lot of his followers have come back and said that he has given them some type of STD. And this is one of the things that they have to do. These forces will make a deal with you. They'll give you certain accolades, but you're going to act out the things that they need and what they want. And it's not a good thing. It's really not. And it's sad that these particular things take place in the universe, in existence. So I'm gonna pull up another book. Just give me a second. Okay, let me go back to find our news. Okay, what book is Nine Ball? What is that? Nine Ball 3? Okay. Anybody had any questions, anything out there? You see anything in the chat?
Back.
Okay, Remy back. Anybody got any questions?
Any questions in the chat? Sometimes the chat moves faster on my phone than it does on the.
Okay. If not, I'm gonna move on to
Nope. Nobody got no questions.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go into dealing with, what number is this? Number 5. Okay, let me go back. Hold on. Okay, that's the wrong one. Hold on. this 1, 2. Okay, that's 1. 9-1, 9-2. I think this is his 9-3. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna just give a little more information now. Remember, y'all. The first book we read was written in 1968. All right, going into ghosts and things like that. Now we finna go to another book that Alfred Uno wrote under the name Amanubi Rakapata, talking about the number 3. Remember, when you hear the word ghost, 3 is interchangeable. What Peaceful Spirit said?
That you can see it was slowly coming with Nature Boy.
Okay. What was slowly coming with Nature Boy?
The stuff that he's doing now.
Oh, okay. Well, all of them are being influenced by these forces. So these spirits, all again, once you understand the pattern, whether it's Pharaoh, Polite, Mr. Hemet, Mr. Valentine, all of these different people, if you recognize this, if you know how to see spiritually, when you really into metaphysics, you'll be able to see the pattern. Okay, so it's not just him. And be careful not to just keep trying to label the person, because the person is acting out what the spirit is making them do in various degrees. He's been in training for years, and we all watched it. Now, he's not going to be the only one. Other people that y'all seeing in the community will start taking on these strange titles. But guess what?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to come back again to say, okay, this particular spirit is part of this. I hope I don't, but I'm pretty sure I will, because noon has to be shown to be true. And I'm serving as a marker in time, a small window of time, that when people come behind me, they'll say, I remember Tar said this. Here go the books right here. I got the books. I'm ready. I'm able to, then y'all can go out and do what you need to do. All right. So now let's go to this.
They're gonna keep popping up. But just like you said earlier, once one disappears, another pops up. And I know
there you go. And they're going to be popping up for the sole purpose to be identified now. Everything y'all seen all the way up to February 5th, 2022 was the end of the smoke screen. Everything you're seeing now will present themselves enough to be identified by Noon Science and somebody who uses Noon to properly identify them. And hopefully I'm not the only one that have to come back here to say this, that, and the third. But I am honored that nature chose to bring me here to be able to do that. Yeah, so it's never that I feel like I'm too busy, or it's part of my job, because I love it. All right.
Peaceful Spirit asks, do you think that's the spirit that's in Nature Boy and Young Pharaoh? Of course. Because you notice that when Polite went down, the attention turned to Pharaoh. And when Pharaoh got boring to people, Nature Boy pops up.
Yeah.
Back up. So it seems like that cycle that you're talking about is very clear.
They just keep recycling them. Umar, he's part of it. He's part of the crew. They all part of it. But it's going to increase in the sense of, because the spirits are running out of time. And now that the group of y'all who's supposed to see this and to be identified, y'all have to now take action after that. Because what you're doing is you got to stop watching and not knowing what's going on. You have to.
That's why I had you come here, and I was trying to make sense of it.
What we're doing is Armageddon time. Now people have to now participate in the war between right or wrong, because your voice does matter. But you have to know what you're doing and what you're witnessing, and then properly apply the right remedy. The reason why Polite and all these people kept getting away, because people are not applying the right remedy. That's like if somebody is stealing, you don't give them a pat on the back or get them more places to go steal.
No, you're
These
punishing.
people are being rewarded, and the wrong people, the right people watching, don't know how to deal with them. You bring facts to lies, to falsehood. You present that. The truth can stand on its own. What I said tonight, y'all can never see me again. But everybody that comes up after this, it'll stand on its own.
Well,
Y'all
a lot
have
of
to
things
take
that you said to
responsibility.
me over our time knowing each other stuck out to me and stuck with me.
So this is what I'm just here. I'm just here to present the proper identification. So let's go to this real quick. The one that came out when he was outside was really strong. It broke his mind and body down, as you can see it. Yeah, a lot of people, have to learn to be able to see it. And don't let them scare you. All right, this is coming from the 9-ball count 3 liberation information. Let me know when you see that.
We can see it.
And you see the letter N at the top. This is Alfred Uno put this here back then. He ain't put no colors in it, but you can see the N now for Noopooh. And look at the year on it. You see that, the year?
Hold on, I gotta make it bigger. You don't know I'm blinded.
Let me make it a little bigger. You see it now?
Yeah, 1971.
1971. So this showing you how ahead of the game Alfred Uno them was back then. So now we finna get into this volume and look what it says. What's the title of this?
Introduction to 3.
All right. So now you have to ask. It didn't make sense back then, but now look what y'all looking at, something in the flesh. This gonna make all the sense.
Definitely.
The digit 3, like all other digits, can represent many things and have many meanings. For example, 3 can represent space, matter, and time, liquid, solids, and gases, sun, moon, and earth, male, female, neuter gender, 9 ether, 6 ether, and ghosts, etc. But where the Caucasian race is concerned, it means father, son, and what?
Father, son, and daughter? No, mother.
No, say, look, it says father, son, and what?
Hold on, I wasn't even looking. Holy Ghost.
There you go. Now, what colors is this guy wearing on his face and his clothes? It's white. See?
Mm-hmm.
And he's only showing you one. How many 3s is he showing you?
1 on his face.
Right, but it's supposed to be 3. He's only showing you 1, but it's really 2 because he's saying he's the 3 God, and it's really 3 because if you look at it, he's some places he spells 2 E's as 3s. So you got 2 3s in the name 3, and on the 3 on his face. So now you got 3 3s. Just so you know, because I just want to make sure we understand that. Because he's playing games. But that's the spirit, though.
So, do you believe he believes the stuff he's saying?
I don't believe what he's saying.
I said, do you believe he believe it?
I know what he's saying is rooted in some type of truth. But if you listen to the things he was saying on Sarnetta, he was saying, I'm your God. But when you take that to the point that I understand it, he's not the God of black people. He's the God of Caucasian people. But when he's talking to them, he's talking about he's referring to the mentally dead in that point, because y'all are not mentally aware of who that's in front of you or what it represents. So he's saying he's the God of the mentally dead, right along with Tahuti. So they're talking about the mentally dead.
Oh.
So he didn't mean, again, these spirits are deceptive. They're not going to tell you everything. They're not going to explain to you that they're speaking, I'm saying I'm your God mentally, meaning, I'm the reason that most of y'all are mentally dead and y'all worshiping me as a great God with all y'all Kemites and Africa pyramid builder lovers and the debates that was going on over there. They have no idea who Osiris is. What they saying Osiris, Usil, Asar, it doesn't matter what name they're using. Lord, God, it's the same spirit. So he's their God because a lot of them over there worship Osiris, whether you worship Osiris as Christ, it's still him. If you worship Osiris as Osiris, it's still him. If you worship him as Usir, it's still him. Asar, it's still him. You get where I'm going with this?
Uh-huh.
So he's saying, I'm your God because all of them are worshiping him via the misguidance of
That makes a lot of
Sarnetta
sense.
and all of the people who've been reiterating the same cycle of topics. Religion, which is Christianity, Hebrew, and various forms of things that came out of Egypt. So he didn't lie when he said, I'm y'all God. He was telling the truth.
Oh, wow.
See? But because I'm aware, I didn't find nothing funny about what was going on. So none of them thought it was funny because they think they not
I didn't find
mentally
it funny.
dead.
I was more of shocked because I've seen crazy black folk, but I ain't never see no type of stuff like that. Like I said, seeing is believing. And I had to see it from my own eyes to actually believe it because I heard like I said, everybody was telling me, "Oh, Nature Boy was this. He's worse than Pharaoh," and I never really went digging. And I got a glimpse of him on Sinetta, and that's when I was like, "Oh, shit, that's what everybody was talking about."
Mm-hmm. So
That's
now let's go a little further. Holy Ghost and 333% of the perfect number 1,000. 333% of 1,000 is the Caucasian's race limit of mentality for original man who's not white. The Hindu, the Phoenician, is 666. And for the Ethiopian, us is 999. So our race mentality is double the Caucasian and one time greater than mankind.
Oh, wow. Learn
Matter of
something
fact,
new every day.
triple the Caucasian, triple. So 666 gave birth to 333. When you put it in human terms, that means the Phoenician race gave birth to the Caucasian race by way of the Hindu branch. When you got, again, when I showed y'all the evolutionary radiation, the Caucasian is a Hindu, but he don't have those features like the original Caucasian, but he was mutated. So you're talking about through DNA methylation. When you again go back on Remy's page where we talked about the origin of the Caucasian, and it explains how the DNA process was interfered and they cut off certain genetic switches that didn't allow the Caucasian to get his melanin from his parents. And they came out albino. You just got to study a little bit. That's all.
That's what it seems like. That's the pattern of these spirits. They're going to take them down in the physical world, and then they'll move on to the next broken person.
Yeah, they
that
have
sounds
a cycle.
about right.
Yeah, they have a cycle in the season, and they're gonna manipulate as long as they can. They're gonna run it out until they can't run it no more. And if you wise enough to see the pattern, you get the hell on, and you stay away from people who don't seem to understand that's what's taking place with them. Because spirit possession doesn't always take place like you see in the movie. Spirit possession just means, a spirit's main job is the interference of the spirit dead into the life of the living. So when they start interfering in our lives and start causing all type of drama and trauma and and issues behind issues. That's what a spirit does by nature. And you have to become aware of it and then start making moves to know how to minimize the issues that they have that they're creating. So now we see that the 3 God is really not a game. You start now because our science confirms that what happened on Sinetta 2 weeks ago indeed was a sign. But y'all need to understand what does that mean. See? So
And that's why I'm glad I said something to you, because the whole time I was watching this Nature Boy thing play out, as I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, I know Tar knows something about what's going on with this man.
Well, I did, and I'm happily to pass on what I've learned to you and the crowd. And so it says right here in this booklet, we Ethiopian scientists shall deal here with 3 ethics pertaining to the Caucasian race, sometimes called white people or the white race. White is a fair description of that race because ghost is white. Therefore, the white race is the posterity of ghosts. Ghost is 3 among the conscious gases because it appears on the circle of time at the position of the number 3. Notice the drawn circle. So where you see the 3 is at, that's where everybody in existence is at. When I was telling you about dimensions or the dimension,
the upper half and the lower half, right?
right? We in the bottom. We right here by the 3. We in the third in the 3D. We gonna be in the 3D for another 6,000 years. Then 3 would then turn into 4, and 4 lasts for like almost 6 million years. Then you go to 5, another 6 million years. You get to 6, that's another one. Because down here from 3 to 4, that's like 6. Then 5 is 12, and then 6 is another 6, and that's 18 million years. So you got from us to go from 3 to 6 is 18 million years. And this is why I was saying that people don't understand when they start talking about dimensions, because these are places of time. It takes time to get there. You can't go to the 9th dimension just by thoughts and humming. That's not how it is. The energies, the way the universe is not there. Those type of high mentalities is not there yet.
So speaking of dimensions, is it true that humans have 5 fingers because they were originally made for the 5th dimension?
I don't know where that foolishness comes from. Human beings have
I heard it from here and there. I didn't actually
yeah,
believe it myself.
the God
In the
God
mind.
who Amun or Amun, is the human being frame is pretty much the natural framework that the God that made the images of human beings, and you'll pretty much find our you pretty much find this form universal. That's why when you see aliens, they pretty much got like a head, a torso, they got legs, even if it's shaped different. But for the most part, you'll see the human figure is not only pertaining to human being. The same way on Earth, you got a lot of animals that got a front legs, back legs, a tongue, eyeballs, teeth. You see what I'm saying? Veins, a stomach, more than one stomach. They eat, they urinate. You know what I'm saying? They breathe, they die. See what I'm saying? These are the basic formal patterns. And we got hands because we always had hands. And that's nothing new. That's something that comes with it. You got feet because you got to walk. You always had feet. Our ancestors were short and more powerful, and they looked a little different, but the basic stuff was there. They had private parts and all of that. It's just again, it's just the difference. It's just funny, man, how these people, these spirits have spread so much disinformation over the many, many years. But it just takes time to do the research, man. The answers y'all want is out here, All right, so The white race is the posteritative. Ghost is 3 amongst the conscious gas because it appears on the circle of time, the position of number 3. Notice the drawn circle. And you see 9 and stuff is at the top. All right, this is the wheel of time in existence. That is time and the many changes that time produces in matter exists in a circle. How we determine the right combination of numbers to use on the circle. So once again, everything is circular, right? And because of that, that immediately destroys people's belief in a flat earth, because the flat earth,
I'm a flat earther.
It's not like you got a circulatory system. Because if existence is based upon that, then the human being come from the earth should be flat too. Everything should always, if you came from the earth, as they say we came from the earth, then our the way we make how we move and move around and all of that should be based upon the place that we come from. You understand? We're not from a flat surface, because that's the case. It would be this in the sky. You would be to look from the earth and see the same type of thing. How can the earth be flat and the sun is round?
I'm not gonna go into all the science of it, but scientifically, around Earth doesn't make sense.
But again, I tell people all the time.
We'll go to science another time, but
yeah,
to me, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if the Earth was flat, it will flip when the asteroids hit it. See, then you have to now come up with
like a flat plane.
But that's what they're saying. You can't say the Earth is not a flat plane and you the Earth flat.
It goes around this way, not that way. I don't believe.
You see what I'm saying? But you have things like karma. You got all what goes around comes around. It don't say what goes flat stays flat. Some of these things makes no sense. The terminologies that exist are laws of nature that will always bear out the truth. And the ancients knew the earth was round. That's religion. You know, the Hebrews in the Old Testament, people put that lie out there. And they keep putting out more maps. They keep lying. They keep saying that the planet is surrounded by ice, giant ice walls. It's all types of disinformation out here. But the spirits are powerful. That's how powerful they are. They're able to create this delusion, because 6 ether is a...
Yeah, but you said it yourself. The sun has lights, right, that come through, right, and sometimes form a rainbow. You need 3 polarizers to form a rainbow.
That's because of the scattering of the earth
and light.
Yeah, the dome of the earth does that. The sunlight light bends around corners and all of that. It's gas. It doesn't beam in a straight line. Light travels up.
But you still need a glass. You need some type of glass for it to reflect the way it does.
It's not a glass. It's just light. It's bouncing off of the particles and whatever else in the atmosphere too. It's not a glass. It makes no sense. You can't. Why would a glass?
Don't make sense to me. We agree or disagree on that one.
Yeah. I mean, because what I'm a critical.
I mean, around Earth.
Right, because when they see it, Earth is everything is round. That's the favorite shape of the one.
I don't believe it's a sphere though, because if it was, you wouldn't be able to see the sun and the moon during the day at the same time.
I mean, the moon catches up where it be. You can see them at the same time all the time. That don't make the earth flat.
Yeah, but then when you explain the moon phases and the cycles and how it goes around the earth scientifically, that doesn't make sense. But let's move on from this.
All right, because again, we start going into all.
Yeah, we're going.
I like because what you have to do then have to investigate who taught you that, because then that changes everything, because you can't use the same race of people who put you in slavery and all this other stuff as the same ones that's telling you the truth about the earth. They lying. They're gonna keep lying, and they got technology.
That's what I'm saying. So how would the science that's what I'm saying. So we learned that from them, the cycles of the moon and how it.
They learned that from us, from the ancients. We told them that. They just confirming stuff we knew. Like this is what I'm saying. Like Afro Unu put this information out in the 60s. Y'all never heard of that. Y'all didn't know about 60s. You didn't know about none of that. But now it's telling you that. So if the earth And 6 ether gamma radiation is a hallucination energy. The sun is
hold on. Reach up for the fruit and stop grazing the grass. You can't see. I didn't say you can see the sun at night. I said you can see the moon and the sun at the same time during the day. But like I said, let's move on to the next.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm moving forward, but I'm explaining to you.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I was
Why
talking about
there's so much deception on the planet. If the sun is emitting gases from itself that are also hallucinogenic and also mutating persons, places, and things, thoughts are also subject to this same thing. And spirits are gases, right? When you go to the dentist and they want to make sure, or to the hospital to make sure you're able to deal with what they about to do, they give you what, laughing gas. They give you anesthesia. They give you all types of gases. These gases are conscious. I just told you that. The definition just told you that gases and spirits are one and the same. So if the time and cycle is to keep human beings ignorant and arguing about certain things to keep them confused, that means you breathing in oxygen is a gas, and that in itself can confuse you. Because
isn't oxygen the most poisonous gas on the planet?
No, it's actually, when the top half is in, it's more oxygen on the planet than it is now, because life is a burning. The more oxygen that exists, the more something can burn. But the sun was losing heat every 100,000 years in order for the new type of creation to come in, which is us, because we couldn't take that type of oxygen that our ancestors was used to breathing in, because their bodies were different and they was able to take that heat and that humidity.
Yeah, you said they were literally made of like molten rock and lava, right?
Well, they had that they had skin, but they was able to burn with that type of heat though. When the earth was hella hot, and they was able to, that was paradise for them. Once the earth cooled down and that flood came, it messed up their ability to live long. They was only able to live for 6,000 years, opposed to millions of years in the same body, because the energies changed, and they died. They caught colds and all of that, versus living in heat for millions of years in life abundant. This is why when your body is sick, it remembers its natural state to what? Get hot. Your body turns the temperature up to live, because originally the planet was hot.
Burn it out, right?
See?
Burn out whatever's in you, right?
Right.
Whatever's
that tells you that life is a burning and sickness is a coldness. So your body is telling you, it remembers from all that time ago. So the reason why we having these confusion conversations is because 6 ether is a hallucination gas, and then it has people that represent.
That makes sense.
See what I'm saying? So now you amongst the ghosts, the Caucasian, right? He's the ghost. And a ghost in his movies and stories are what? Spooky.
That's facts.
When a ghost is around in a movie or a story, there's creepy things going on. The Caucasian has turned this whole planet into Scooby-Doo. Because no knowledge is easy to access. So all of us around here, what? Raggy? Flat Earth? What? Aliens? What? Huh?
Raggy real.
Huh? So we all doing that.
Yeah.
You understand? So now you have to reverse all of this crap that we've been given to fix it. And so this is what Noon does. It recalibrates the mind in order to realize that the mentality that has us thinking, see, that's the problem. We're not thinkers, we're reasoners. The Ethiopian brain is circular, equidistant. Mankind is a linear being. They think this way, that way, up, down. They can't reason like us. That's what I was telling you. When you're reasoning on something, your thoughts move in a circular pattern. If everything was flat, you would move on a linear type of way. It's no way. We don't think like that. They do. And because of that, the energy that put them here made that the primary way that they view things. They view life like this. You're gonna go up, get a job, become rich, get a house. That's linear. That's not how we do things. You see, when you reason is equal distant, that's like it's like globe, but it's equal no matter where you go from one point of the ball to the next. You're gonna still have the same distance. You're gonna still figure out a way. That's why you got people that solve problems from linear, and then you got top down. That's me. I'm a top down person. I can see the forest from up here. You can't see the sky from in the forest. You can't see because of trees. And that's all I was saying. We have to reverse everything because that's how it is. But like I said, I'm not an expert on all that stuff. I just have a way that I reason. Some of my reason it gives the Ethiopian seventh sense. See, the other, you got what five? What is five senses? And then you have thinking is the sixth sense. Ours is the seventh sense. Reason.
And you dubbed it, coined it, reasonable mobility, right?
There you go. Reasonability is the seventh sense. They know that. That's why they put out that movie back in the day, The Sixth Sense. They know that mankind can only go sixth sense. That's it. They only can think. They can deep think, but they can't reason. They don't have the ability.
We're not a part of mankind. We're something totally different. So you're saying we're not a part of mankind. We're something totally different.
Not at all. That's why I keep saying, if you came, wherever you came from, you have to represent where you came from. The Caucasian, mankind in general, came from the bottom part of existence, and the earth shows that. So once again, we came from the sun. I put out 2 books that prove, right along based off of Afro Unu's writings, 2 scientific books on my website called Our Hair that prove.
I got both of the sun videos on the channel too.
Right. So we got. So we came. So that kills the flat Earth, because now you got to tell me how I come from the sun, because my hair is not from here. My hair, our hair, your hair, my hair is come from the star.
How would that kill the flat Earth?
Because they have to prove our origin is not from here. Our origin go further back, because it changes the conversation now. But even if if you come from your parents, you look like your parents. That's why I was saying, if we came from the earth, which they claim, then I'm saying from the flat earth type, they can't make up the other thing. That's why I said go back when we did that out of America, when we debunked the out of America theory.
Yeah.
You have to go back to that to understand why the flat earth makes no sense either.
Okay.
Because you have to have life in the earth that come from somewhere, because the earth itself has a system. Magma, all that stuff travels in a circular form. It travels. It's no way. They have to see, this is what I'm saying. The science part you have to tell me about the topography. You got to tell me about the oceanography. You got to tell me about the whole earth and prove to me that everything underneath the surface is moving that same way. And when you study volcanoes and plumes under the earth, they do not follow a flat type plane circulate. They don't travel like that. You're gonna find everything, even water don't travel like it's on a disc. That's a problem. So the people who are trying to make that argument, no matter what it is, like we did with the theory, Anu wonderfully explained just off of how plumes work from the earth itself, debunks all of that. Because nothing, if it's on a flat, it can't travel. It's not going to come up from the bottom. It has to have a generator that's on a disc, and they have to travel around. Magma and water don't travel like that. So that means the people have no knowledge of the way the water works in volcanoes and oceanography. They have no knowledge of that. And most of the people's arguing about that, no disrespect, nobody, never been in space. And you don't have to be out there to study that. You see how science is able to chart the
So how you
planets
know
and tell
if
you
space
how
is
far.
real then? If
Huh?
nobody been in space, how do we know if it's real?
But that you have to, like our ancestors told us.
Venus, what's up? Welcome to the channel.
So above and below, you have what's called microcosm, macrocosm, meaning there's a small version of a bigger version. Our ancestors understood that. The same way doctors understand that, and they can look at a body and they can say, okay, well, human beings are basically the same. That's why you can practice and say with mice, right? Mice and pigs and monkeys. Because we have certain things that are similar, that's why they can practice and use drugs and cures and viruses on other animals. Why? Because there's certain fundamental things that we all have in common. So when you understand microcosm, macrocosm, that means I don't have to visit 15 billion light years away to find out that whatever's out there is in here. Our ancestors knew that. So that's what I mean about revolving reasonability. Our ancestors left us this. That's why when they say when you study the African mind or the way the African thought pattern was, which is really reasonability, then we can understand that. Because our ancestors would have built things that reflected the things that are going on. The same way the pyramid is not just a triangle above ground, it's like a square. In the way the Nile River runs,
look
all
at
this
it from
stuff.
an
We have to
aerial
look at
view.
these things. You have to study nature, and it will tell you that a lot of the stuff that's happening to us is only because of, like I told you, the ether. The ether that's coming from 6 ether and ghost ether and 5 ether and 4 ether. Those ethers are creating all of the crap that we've seen back in time. Just like right now, 3 ether created religion. And this is why people not only believe what they believe about flat earths and other stuff like that, they believe that the world is 6,000 years old. That's ridiculous.
I don't believe that.
You see what I'm saying? But that's what the ethers do, though. And they have a human population that represent them that promotes this type of foolery. And we are in a state of so much dependency, we can't even begin to even disprove anything because we've been put in a situation that's dependable, that depends on them. So I got to depend on this person. This person, it's a whole lot of mess. But Sound Right Reason is able to show you how to connect with your own environment and things around you to pull all this information in and make it yours because it originally was ours. But I didn't want to go too far on that. I just wanted to play with you on that flat earth because I know you was into that. I just wanted to mess with you. I've been wanting to do that for months.
I know what you're doing. That's why I wasn't saying argue with you. I knew what you was doing.
I've been wanting to mess with you, but I said, let me
I
do
know
it
what you was
tonight
doing.
since he bringing it up. Let me just mess with Remy a little bit.
I knew what you was doing.
I know that. That's all. I'm just messing with you. All right. So it said the wheel of time existing is time in the many changes that time produces and that matter exists in a circle. How we determine the right combination of numbers to use on the circle is that the digits must be single and consecutive and must add up to 9. 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 equals 72. And 7 plus 2 is 9. If you go to the website, right, back to find9news.com, me and Anoop did a book. I told you that Noopooh equals 72. It'll make all of this here a little bit more easy to understand after y'all read the books. That's for free. But for those who may be feeling drawn to these numbers and the circles and things like that, go to the website and get Noopooh equals 72. It will definitely help you with that. All right.
And Venus Star 16. This is a breakdown on the type of spirits that we're dealing with when it comes to Nature Boy and Pharaoh and all these other so-called conscious leaders who are pretty much misleading people.
Yeah, so the circle of time is just showing you. These also tell you what type of spirit. So from 6 to 3 all these type of spirits, and the further you get away from the top, the worse of the spirits became over time. So we had 3. So these spirits done burnt out. Now they in a ghost form, and they all running around here scaring people and spooking them out with misinformation and lies and all this type of stuff. So that's what you're doing is you don't see it, but we are affected by them, and they're constantly creating fear in one form or another, and the ghost spirits thrive off of that. As
Said
long
she
as
said,
this, go say it again.
Venus says I keep seeing the word ether and etheritic.
She's saying the word what?
Ether and etheritic.
Ether and who?
Etheric.
Oh, etheric. Yeah, that's just another word. That just it's the same word. Ether, etheric, ethereal. Etherically. It's all talk. It's all just different words for spirit, gases. That's all ether is. Simply put. All right. It says 7 plus 2 equals 9, and the digits must divide the circle into 12 equal parts like the zodiac, because the digits 1 and 2 are left out of order for the circle to add up to 9. A circle must add up to 9 because a perfect circle is what? 9 by nature. That's the name of the website too. If evolution starts at 6 on the left side of the circle of time and goes counterclockwise through 5, 4, and 3. 6 pushes the circle down on the left side, and 9 pulls it up on the right side, as you can determine by the drawing. So that's what's going on now. We reached 3 at critical point in February 5th, 1962. Noopooh made themselves known and immediately started making moves to pull the smack circle past 3. And the Zoop, the bottom half energies, is resisting. And so because it's resisting, there's friction. And because Noopooh is gaining power, the closer we get to February 5th, 2025, that's going to be the great earthquake, the great shaking, the great cataclysm that's spoken about in the Bible.
So in 3 years, it's supposed to be that earthquake that you're talking about. That's supposed to happen in 3 years.
Yeah, that's going to happen in 2 years and 10 months, in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So the February 5th, we just came through, completed the 60-year magnification of evil and ghosts maxing out with the COVID. That was their last greatest chance to murder as many people as they could. That was Osiris. So they still trying to push it, but it's not gonna work. So now the positive forces is gonna whoop them up in the form of Armageddon. And so by the time you hit February 5th, 2025, everything that they looking for to happen in the Bible will then happen. So all the stuff that they thought happened, it didn't happen yet. The trumpets haven't sounded, and that doesn't mean it's literal trumpets. If y'all want to know what's going to take place in the next 2 years, go to the website, right? And I got books on my website that deals with the revelation and all of the things that did take place, but all of the catastrophes, they didn't happen yet. It's getting there.
And so people like Nature Boy and Pharaoh and all them are signs of this
They
cycle
just showing you, spirits is here to let you know that they're here. If anything but that, it's to let you know that what y'all wasn't sure on, now here it is. But they're not gonna start doing magic and floating and all of that. If that's what you're looking for, they're not gonna do that.
No, I wasn't saying that.
They do that in their own occult places. They're not gonna just, because then people would then wake up and stop doing negative stuff to the best of their ability. Right now, people just kind of cruising. They do negative stuff. They don't really think that it's bad, and they not, and also because of the way negativity is at its height, the positive of human beings are suppressed. Okay, and because of that, it makes them not be as compassionate. All of us, we all have done something cruel or cold to one another. That's the effect of the negative time we're in and the spirits that we carry, that when we do something wrong, it makes us feel bad. You understand? Because that human part kicks in and you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. So a lot of people is going to start really trying to tap back into their humaneness. That's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a challenge because everything you're seeing is just negative. And that's why, and it's appearing that all the negative people are surviving. But when you look at people like Nature Boy, really they're weak. Their strength is being amongst people who are weaker than them.
That's
You
true.
understand? So when I'm watching his videos,
That is very true.
and he's saying, "Didn't you give me $30,000? Didn't you give me 40?" These people are mentally weak and morally weakened. That they have no self-esteem, no self-love, no self-care. This is what they spirits broke them down to prepare them for when they ran into him. So his spirit can continue the abuse. That's how it goes. Simple. It's nothing deep.
Star Goddess, what's up?
And that's crazy. I see Venus is in here. That's a special thing for me.
Yeah, Venus.
I can't go into that, but that name means something.
Venus is definitely tuned in.
So that right there, I talk about Venus too in some of these books. Very important planet in the coming days. It's 7 of them, actually. That's going to play a part.
So it's still more people to come.
Of course. But they're going to show up and y'all going to watch them get their justice like y'all have never seen before. But they also are serving as a wake up. They're going to these are alarm clocks. A lot of different events is going to be people's alarm clocks who are asleep. Some people had to go out there and get used by Nature Boy to wake up and come back.
Yeah,
hopefully y'all have to look at it and be like, yo, I'm glad I didn't get caught in that. I'm just showing up because
I let you talk, but I take this call. Hold on, I'm gonna let you talk. Let me put myself on mute.
Okay, so that's what we have to do. Y'all want to know what's going to happen next? Go to the website and get the Revelation books, because I put all that work in there so you could understand what those books are really saying. Because I've been at this for a long time. If that's what you want to do, you want to know if you tired of, because there's enough truth happening where people can't say certain part of the Bible is not true. I'm here to tell you that that's a lie. But it was deceptively written in order to block people from seeing what they needed to know, because now the time is here. From February 5th, 2022 to February 5th, 2025, get ready. That's what I'm here to tell you. The rest is on y'all, because everything I'm telling you is not here to. Noon doesn't deal with mystification and trying to fascinate you. You're gonna find science when you're dealing with Noon. Whenever I sit down in front of y'all or anybody else who's good with information, they understand that Noon is not the fascination. Nobody's gonna read nothing in Noon books that says, and in these days it's gonna be pixie dust and butterflies and horses and Care Bears walking around holding hands, saving people from water and earthquakes and all. It's not gonna tell you that. You're not going to see Peter Pan. You're not going to see none of those things. You're not going to see that. None of these things don't exist. in Noon. Noon helps you escape to reality. And that's what a lot of us need now. And people like Nature Boy and them don't exist in reality. That means if y'all finding yourself keeping up with all these people, that means you on a drug with them. And it's called insanity. Because you right there with them watching them. You in their world. They not in yours. You in their world. Because there's no way I can see.
Oh, I'm gonna let you go for a little bit more. I gotta go help her get my son.
All right, go ahead. So when you equal standing from that perspective, it makes your perception better. And I'm again, it's not here to disrespect nobody. I'm just saying that the spirit exists in its own world, and spirit beings have enough power and energy that they can make you live in their world while still being human. That's the power of spirits. When they keep telling you follow your dreams, why? I'm not sleep. I don't need to follow my dreams. My dreams is in my brain and connected to the spirit world. I live in the now. I live here. I need to do something in this world. Okay? That's the point. This is all spirit being jargon designed to interfere into your life. Why would you trace it? Why am I chasing a dream?
Facts.
I'm not a part of a dream. A dream is the spirit world. Equal stand that. You are in the conscious woke world that is filled with so much gases from the sun and the moon and the earth, constantly pushing it out, that we are hallucinating. We're hallucinating so much that people like Nature Boy and them can walk around like they're normal. But when you watch them, you're like, this is insane. But you insane with them. Because we still allowing this type of foolery. We see plenty of things that are guilty is sin, as the religionists would say. Still walking around here. Look at Polite. Polite is insane. He's still walking around doing stuff. Haven't learned yet. Still scamming, trying to do this, look at Pharaoh. Pharaoh lost his mind. Still get up every day like it's a job to keep y'all confused and looking at them. That's their job. Y'all work for Pharaoh. Y'all work for them. Y'all work for them. They spirit got you working for them because the spirit wants pleasure and honor on top of controlling you. All of these spirits are narcissists, but they're programmers and controllers, their main function. And if you don't understand that about a spirit being, you're going to be caught. I'm only here to tell you, y'all got the February 4th, 2025. Everything that disaster that the Bible says is going to happen in this time frame. I'm not saying everything in there the book saying is true. In its present form, no. But if you want to know details, go to the website and check it out for yourself. And look at the dates and the time and look at everything around there and then say either Tarnoon is insane or he know what the hell he's talking about. That's it. Because y'all got to wake up. They are who they are. But if you're not who you are, you need to find out who you are. Pharaoh say he's Pharaoh. Nature Boy say he's three God. Who are you? That's the thing.
That is truth.
That's it. It's simple and plain. I know who I am. I know where I'm going to. But the thing is, it's important for everything to be put in its place. Everything. Everything needs to be put in its place. Once everything is in chronological order, then you know what is and what is not. And then you go from there. All this stuff that's taking place is supposed to happen. Because we in the bottom half. If you looked at I don't know if you got a picture of that. Let me I'm gonna show the people real quick. Because I want them to just to understand this. And then we'll come back to this. I'm not trying to lose nobody. I just want to make some sense. Let me know when you see that.
You can see it.
All right, you see the color right? You see this, the N at the top?
Yeah.
And there's an N inside of a circle. Down here is what?
Z.
Right, and it's inside of a circle. What word is that?
That's Zupu. Zupu, right?
Right, that's what it represents. But as look at it as two letters. It's a circle, also called a what? As a letter.
Wait, what'd you say?
The circle is also as a letter. What would you call a circle in the alphabet?
O.
Right, and the Z together make what?
Zoo.
The other way.
Oh. On. Wait. Oz.
Right. And Oz is what? The land of Oz. When you go into what? The what was that?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. So the bottom half is just like that. We in the land of Oz. Things is backwards. See up here, Noopooh at the top. That's where everything is right side up. You come to the bottom, everything is the opposite. It's 180 degrees. It's opposite. See over here where the blue is at for the end. But then when you get down here, it turns up. That means everything is upside down. Everything is backwards.
And that's the top half is the positive, and the lower half is the negative. And
exactly.
Right
so
now,
this is why everything is upside down. If you ever watched Stranger Things on Netflix, right? They had when they was going into that other dimension, they called it the upside down world.
I've been meaning to get into it.
It's pretty good.
I've been meaning to get into it.
So we in the upside down world. You ain't got to tap into another dimension for that. Just look around you. Look at what's getting all the attention versus what need to get attention.
That's very
you looking at these people, they getting too much attention because what they doing also, Nature Boy and them and all of these people, they represent. Look at it as a game. Look at it as the basketball game or something. They're running down the clock. That's what these spirits are doing. They're running down the clock.
And trying to stretch it as long as they can.
That's what they're doing. They trying to run. The spirits already know it's over for them, but they still trying to fool y'all. And time is flying. Y'all haven't noticed it? You need to get one of my books. I put out, I think it's called The Solar Cycle and the Coming of Noopooh. You know the Earth starts spinning faster in 1972?
No, I did not know that.
The sun pushed the Earth faster in her rotation. Before that,
I'm
the
not
moon
if I
was
do that.
keeping the Earth slow. The Earth was sped up in 1972, and time has been flying ever since.
I did notice that time is moving quicker. It seems like it. Well, it seemed like it to me. I thought it was just me, but I felt like days were going faster and time is moving a lot quicker.
And that right there is a blessing that time is moving fast, because if they didn't, if the sun in his great wisdom, because Noopooh was there, didn't cause that to happen, a lot of us would have died after this COVID thing. A lot of us would have
Fact,
been
Shadow.
stuck because they was dragging with that. They was really trying to drag and beat this clock. February 5th, 2022. They was trying. You wasn't around me when I was doing all of the videos on Agenda 21 and the New World Order and all that stuff. You wasn't
That's
there.
what we were doing.
Yeah, I was, but that was after the fact. I've been done with them. So when it was going, when I was making the
when
videos
you was
in real time,
okay, yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. But if people was those who was with me during that time, I was explaining that they had a 30-year window from 1992 when Bush went to Rio de Janeiro and put America on, all the
I
way
had to
to
start
February.
looking into it because it was scaring me too much.
Right. So that was the time frame. So now that time frame is up, but the suns sped the earth up. I got books on that. It's in the Revelation books as well as the solar cycle coming to Noopooh. Y'all need to understand what the hell is going on. This is it. The whole thing is running, and if you do the right thing, if you pay attention and take account of your time, get yourselves prepared. Align yourselves with nature. That's all I can tell you without sounding like I'm going over your head, because I'm not going to tell you nothing that can't be proven or it will be proven somewhere or the other. I'm not saying I got all the answers. I got enough though. I got enough to put those books together on that website. And y'all want to know what the hell going on, and you want to try to find heaven on earth, get your mind right. That's what you got to do. Get some peace, get some correct information, and follow that. You're not going to hear me ever say, follow me. I don't need that. You need to follow sound, right reason. And they are right in here. You just got to tap into your real, true mind and find that and do what you need to do. You see?
That's facts.
Well, she said, absolutely, yeah. It's going fast. It's a scientific fact.
Yeah.
Let me show y'all so y'all know what I'm talking about. And they playing with the time now too. They trying to make it permanent light daylight savings time now. Let me see. Y'all ever heard of atomic clocks?
Yeah. No, I heard about biological clock.
Yeah, they got an atomic clock. There's a lot of stuff they've been keeping away from y'all. That's what I'm saying. If y'all knew half the stuff that I know, y'all stop listening to all those people online. I keep telling y'all that. Because they only giving y'all regurgitated religious information mixed with new age stuff and occultism, and people getting stimulated by that. And they swear that that's it. And it's a sad truth. And again, your spirits is making y'all do that. Let me see. Maybe I should just pull out one of my books. Let me see. Can I even pull that up? Let me see which one of these things that dealt with time. It wasn't solar cycles. It was another one. Because one of these was long. I wonder which one it was. Just give me a second. Because some of these chapters are small and some of these are long. I'm just trying to remember because I did all of this. You remember this? We're just talking about the time. Because I did the solar cycle, but I don't think I mention what time sped up in the solar cycle. I think I did. Let me see. Just give me 1 second. Let me type in 1972. See if it come up. Yeah. Hold on. All right. Is everybody still there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You still there? All right. Remy, you okay, I see you. Can you hear me, Remy?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I'm gonna go into something. Let me see if I can share my screen on that real quick. I hope for the show.
No, Shadow, I ain't hear about no solar wave.
Yeah, don't fear that. That's a good thing. All right, so all right, check this out, Venus, y'all. I'm finna read a little something from my book. Let me know when everybody ready.
You can go ahead.
All right, said this is coming from the solar cycle and the coming of Noopooh. All right, said listen to sound right cosmic reason. The planetary alignment was not the only thing mentioned in the Bible and clarified in the nature books for signs for the end. Matthew 24:21 says, for then shall be great tribulation such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor shall ever be. Matthew 24:22. And except those days be shortened, there shall be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, and those days shall be shortened. All right, you with me on that?
Yeah.
That means days are going to be short, right? That's we understand that's what it's saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mark 13:20. And except the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, he has shortened the days. Listen to reason. However, if the complete ending of evolution does not happen within 60 years, including the catalysm for 0.3 south from the year announced by one who was qualified to proclaim it, when the cataclysm does come, the universes are on their way down out to the smack circle of chaos. Ghost Guard being the last evolutionary stage of the spirit dead can be mighty oppressive and very bloodthirsty. And this is why the Caucasian Bible states, St. Matthew 24th chapter, verse 21 and 22, that if the days or years of ending evolution are not shortened by the universe scientists for the sake of the elect, elite, and innocent, there should not be any flesh saved, and no one will survive Armageddon. The events and disasters that close the end of evolution, let it be remembered always and let it be known. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 135. The complete ending of evolution will be in the year 2025 AD, noon Ethiopian year 69, February 5th. Here's the numeric proof. You there?
Yeah.
Just making sure. The ending of evolution, 105. 2025, 105. That's the gematria. There's other ways that, to add on. Listen to sound right cosmic infrared reason. In order to know how to tell when the shortening of days will start occurring, you must know where to look. This place we can look in is called Kepler's law of orbital motion. Have y'all ever heard of that?
No. Wait, you said
Kepler's
what?
laws of orbital motion.
No, I never heard of that.
All right. This is why y'all got to stop listening to these people that y'all giving all y'all time to. This is exactly what I'm saying. Observing Kepler's law of orbital motion at work, Kepler's law shows the effects of gravity on orbits. They apply to any object that orbits another, planets orbiting the sun, moons orbiting any planet, spacecraft orbiting Earth. A planet's orbital speed changes depending on how far the planet is from the sun. The closer it is to the sun, the stronger the sun's gravitational pull on it, and the faster it moves. The farther it is from the sun, the weaker the sun's gravitational pull, and the slower it moves. The same is true for an orbiting satellite. The closer the satellite is in its orbital path to the planet, the faster it moves. Kepler's second law describes the way an object's speed varies along its orbit. A planet's orbital speed changes depending on how far it is from the sun. The closer a planet is to the sun, the stronger the sun's gravitational pull on it. And the faster the planet moves. The farther it is from the sun, the weaker the sun's gravitational pull, and the slower it moves in its orbit. All right, how things fly, education, flight, dynamics, Kepler's law, orbital motion. That's the website. All right, this is Johannes Kepler. This is the man that came up with that. Can you see him?
Yeah.
Okay. He was
That's
born.
who the telescope or something is made of, right?
I think so. He has something to do with that. This is him in 1620.
Yeah, like the Kepler, the biggest telescope is called like the Kepler telescope or something like that, right?
I'm not sure. But he definitely was. I think he was definitely into astronomy. I think, but he was born December 27, 1571, died November the 15th, 1630. Said, listen to sound right, cosmic reason. You said something?
No.
Okay. Listen to sound right, cosmic reason. Now, knowing this means that the sun has the effect on a planet's motion, it's clear in new science and other philosophies and cultures that the sun and all the planets are not unconscious spheres in space. We can now look into the orb Earth. Girtha began speeding up and in turn the days became shorter. Earth's in a Hurry, 2020, by Graham Jones and Constantine Bicos, published December 23rd, 2020, changed 21st June 2021. And it says, many of us wish we can get through this difficult year as quickly as possible. Seems the earth feels the same way. It has been spinning unusually faster lately. 2020 included the 28 shortest days since 1960. Atomic clocks exposes Earth's irregular speed. The Earth is an excellent timekeeper. On average, with respect to the sun, it rotates once every 86,400 seconds, which equals 24 hours or one mean solar day. But it is not perfect. When the highly accurate atomic clocks were developed in the 1960s, they showed that the length of a mean solar day can vary by milliseconds. These differences are obtained by measuring the Earth's rotation with respect to distant astronomical objects and using a mathematical formula to calculate the mean solar day. 2021 is predicted to be even shorter. Scientists monitoring the Earth's rotational speed expect the trend of having shorter days to continue through 2021. According to their calculation, an average day in 2021 will be 0.2 ms shorter than 86,400 seconds. Over the course of the entire year, atomic clocks will have accumulated a lag of about 70 ms. For comparison, in the past years, they ran fast by a few hundred milliseconds per year. See yearly average in 1973. In fact, the year 2021 is predicted to be the shortest in decades. Before this current speeding up, the last time that an average day was less than 86,400 seconds across a full year was in 1937. Leap seconds keep us in sync with Earth. If Earth's rotation gets too far out of sync with the super steady beat of atomic clocks, a positive or negative leap second can be used to bring them back into alignment. Since the system of leap seconds was introduced in 1972, the Earth's rotation has generally been a bit sluggish. So far, these have been 27 leap seconds, and they have all been positive. In other words, they have all added up an extra second to our clocks, enabling the Earth to catch up. Recently, however, the Earth has been getting what? Quicker. And no leap second has been required since 2016. If the Earth's rotation continues to quicken, we may at some point require a negative leap second. if this happens, our clocks will skip a second in order to keep up with the hurrying in Earth. How we know the Earth is speeding up? Official measurements of the length of days are made by the International Earth Rotation and Reference System Service, IERS, to determine the true length of a day. The IERS scientists determine the exact speed of the Earth's rotation by measuring the precise moments a fixed star passes a certain location in the sky each day. The measurement is expressed as universal time, UT1, a type of solar time. UT1 is then compared to International Atomic Time, TAI, a highly precise time scale that combines the output of 200 atomic clocks maintained in laboratories around the world. The true length of a day is expressed by the deviation of UT1 from a TAI over 24 hours. So this is what they're trying to do. If you got all these clocks around the world keeping up with time, they waiting for something. They watching for something. You understand? Because we don't have clocks that's made on the atomic clock. Ask yourself why. Because they don't want you to be caught up with what's coming. You understand? And they created something called a doomsday clock in the 50s. Mm-hmm. So if you don't think they don't know what's going on, they do. Again, if the people y'all listening to ain't saying this stuff, stop listening to them. Louis Esser, this is the man, these two men invented the first atomic clock, cesium, 133 in 1955, and it is credit for measuring time. A few types were sold between 1956 to 1964. This is also a scripture in the book of Daniel that speaks of knowledge will increase during this time. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness are the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. The history of leap second. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is that if y'all don't understand how to put everything in order, you're not going to be ready. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're not going to be ready because you're looking into a book that was written to deceive and paint this picture that you're not going to be the equal standard. But Sound Right Reason has stepped in and made this easier for y'all so you can get the information and be safe. You don't have to run behind a fake leader or a cult leader that's possessed, that's going to make you give up all your money, beat you, and y'all having bisexual sex, and for the prize of hanging out with them, you get a disease you can keep with you for life.
That's facts.
In this case, all you got to do is type in five9news.com, go to the site, get free books that's going to help your life, personally you, get some books you could pay for that's affordable, that all the research you need to know, cut through the red tape. You ain't got to see me ever one day in your life, and you can keep your safety, keep your distance. You ain't got to lose no money, lose your virginity, catch no disease, catch a case, because a lot of these cats finna start getting cases. People gonna start taking them because the time is elapsed now. All of these people, they think they safe, and they got these people wrapped around their fingers. Somebody gonna snap, and and that's gonna be the end of it. You're gonna start hearing about it on the news.
Oh, one of them already went home and killed their mom.
You see? But I'm saying, as far as these cult leaders and things, they're gonna suffer for all of the lives they have destroyed. So nature, the positive force of nature, has brought me back to bring y'all to the spot to get your information, and you safe. Nobody can trick you from where you at except your own spirit. That's what you need to check yourself. Check your spirit and know how to understand spirituality by understanding your spiritual self, your mental self, your physical self. Start here. Then everything else will make sense. Is the message that I'm saying.
That's facts. That's facts. That was very powerful stuff, man. Very, very powerful stuff. You made a lot of sense because I couldn't wrap my mind around this whole situation. That made a
Yeah.
lot of sense. So,
Well, it's I was glad to be of service, and
yeah.
that's I enjoyed doing it, and it's always a pleasure to come through. So I mean, if anybody got anything they want to do a little quick question and answers before we get out of here, I'm game.
Who knocked who off?
Huh?
No, Shadow said, "What happened, Remio? Repeat that if you don't mind. Who knocked who off?" I ain't say nothing about nobody knocking nobody off. All right. I'm about to go to bed. I'm gonna wrap this up. Take my ass to bed. That was some very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff.
I'm gonna put the what's called in there too. Hold on.
The website.
Yeah.
And here's the website right here. It's called find9news.com. So if anybody want to go to his website and get the books that Tara wrote on this subject matter and all the other subject matters, you want to go to find9news.com. And we have 9bynature.com. I'm going to flash these two on the screen. There's find9news.com right there. And we got 9bynature.com.
That's the health website. So you got to get your mind in order as well as your body. Do the best you can. Don't let nobody deter you, and stick to the information. Like I said, this ain't the end of it. I'll be back.
Oh, definitely.
You welcome, Miss Wise, because the time is your time is precious. Your time is short. Time has sped up. I just told you that since 1972, the Earth has been spinning fast, and that was to help us get to what we needed to get to, and we got past it. So we got past the COVID situation. Now y'all got to get y'all information in and learn quickly, so you can see the spirit world behind the physical world. Then you'll be able to make your choices better because you're able to see spiritually. Because once you learn the type of spirits, then it explains the moves that you're seeing in the physical world. So once you be able to identify that, you say, okay, Joe Biden is doing this, or they doing this, or these type of spirits, or what's behind this. You understand? And then you'll start moving accordingly because you stand what you're supposed to be doing. And that's the sad.
Yeah, I think if I had a little bit more knowledge of the what you're talking about, I probably wouldn't have been as shocked as I was.
Right. But this is, you still got a little bit of time. People need to definitely do that. And don't forget, I got a podcast. I put the link in here, but make sure y'all do that too. Hold on. I'm gonna end up putting this when we do it over here, I'm gonna put that on the podcast when I get a chance. Let me see. It's taking a second to populate. You can still get to my podcast through the They can still get through my podcast through the
They talking about. There's a couple people in here talking about they going to the website now.
Yeah, he'll do that. Don't hold back. because the time is the time is now. Y'all got to definitely get on your grind. You got to get on your. You got only you is responsible for you.
That's fact.
You know, like I said, I'm doing my best. I'm working hard every day. I'm working hard. I'm working hard. Whether I really don't rest.
This the podcast one right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this right here, link that in the chat that I just put up on the screen is the link to his podcast. So if you wanted to listen to his podcast, you can click that link and it'll take you directly to his podcast. And we've got the other two websites in the chat too. But, let me wrap this up. Thank you, good Ken folk, for stopping by again and blessing us with your knowledge. It was long overdue. Because when I announced it earlier, everybody was like, oh shit. Tar back. Oh shit. I was like, yeah, Tar coming back tonight.
Yeah, so depending on how things go, people can let me know where they at. If I have to come back, I'll do that.
Yeah, we definitely gonna have you back on here.
But yeah, people need to take responsibility to go to the go to the website, cop the books, and then start turning the books into your own little YouTubes and start spreading information. Because that's what time it is. It's not about the debating and stuff is over with. Get out of that cycle. Step away from that, because all that is keeping you trapped and not knowing nothing. Because once the spirits know what time it is, they know how much time they got, and they're gonna run the clock down, and then they gonna vamoose, and you're gonna be stuck there with that person, because the spirit gonna leave them hanging. Both of y'all gonna be stuck there looking crazy. He ain't gonna, or she ain't gonna know what happened to him. You're gonna be looking crazy. Well, I thought you was the one. I thought that person, like, man, I don't know what you talking about. I ain't no God. I'm a goddamn fool, but I ain't no God. All this stuff gonna come out.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm waiting for. That shit to hit the fan.
That's why you got to get it together. So as it come out, it's gonna be more things worse than Nature Boy. Now, trust me, they all coming in front of y'all. The force is making them come to y'all, so y'all can see them, and y'all can be like, wow, I thought this was crazy, but it is. It's gonna be happening right. Just like you looking at Nature Boy, that's how spirits do. You're not gonna see no bright light or no dark energy coming from a person outside their skin. It doesn't work like that. We don't have those, that our eyes can't pick that up like it used to naturally. Unless you highly trained spiritually, you can do it. But on some basic stuff, you can't see it. But the energy of the light is there. The same way when people want to see what color their aura is, they got to go and get some technology. Somebody have to take their picture, because we lost that. So if you want to see the type of spirit or somebody got, you got to go and get a curling camera and take a picture of that person. And then you still ain't going to be to know what type of spirit it is. Because if it's an ether spirit, it's just going to be dark. That ain't going to tell you about the spirit just looking at its particular hue or color. That's not it. Spirits got power. They know how to control energy and all of that. They can make themselves look nice and neat like they do with human beings. You can look at all these people that look nice and homely, and they get behind closed doors or something else. So spirit beings can fool even the person who got a spiritual eye. So why go through all of that? Cut out the middleman, go get the books, get by yourself so you can do what you need to do, then come back and then we can talk. That was it. I said everything I needed to say. And I want to thank everybody from coming out there. I want to say thank you, Remy L, for having me back. For everybody that showed up. True Peace. And just when you need me back, just let me know. You know I'm here for you.
Oh, we're gonna be contacting, because I still gotta finish that cover.
Yeah. You think you're gonna be finished tonight or tomorrow?
I'll probably finish the rest up in the morning. I'm going to bed.
All right, cool. All right, I'll see y'all later.
All right,
All
appreciate
right,
you.
true peace. No problem.
All right, family. Thanks to our kinfolk, Tar, Kinoo, Noopooh, for stopping by, dropping the wisdom and the knowledge that people need to hear to over and understand what we're seeing today. So definitely shout out to our King Tar for coming through with that. Shout out to the chat, everybody that stopped by. Appreciate you guys. Like I say every day, it's you guys who make this show special. Shout out to our newcomers. Make sure y'all hitting that subscribe button. Also, if you still want to donate to the new microphone stand fund, because this shit keep falling the fuck apart, I pinned the cash app to the top of the chat. We got $15 so far towards the mic stand. So I think we need like $30 more. So if you want to donate and help out with that, you can donate through the channel's cash app. Print that at the top of the chat. Thanks, Tar. I pinned that at the top of the chat. Again, thank our good Ken folk. I keep messing it up because he don't like the brother thing. So our good Ken folk, Tar, Kinoo, Noopooh for stopping by. But that's all the time I got. It's your boy, Remio Ma'at. You were just tuned in to Ma'at TV. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Until then.
You better be careful.